solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please have a seat. Okay. If you could please state your full name for the record and for the members of the jury.
Gerhard Koenig,
Gerhard, how old are you?
47,
Where were you born?
South Africa.
And were your parents from South Africa?
Yes.
What are their names, and are they still alive, and are they still married?
Yeah, Peter and Annabelle, they're alive and married.
Okay. And they've been here, is that them here in the front row today?
That's them.
Where do they live now?
San Diego.
Okay, first of all, we're starting off with a smile, which of course is going to annoy me. Second, it sounds like his family is here and probably here to support him, so typical. And South Africa, yesterday I said it might be Ukraine. My bad. There you go. He's from South Africa.
Growing up, what did your parents do for work?
My dad's a pharmacist, and in South Africa, my mom didn't work.
How long did you live in South Africa, or maybe a better way to ask that is, how old were you when you moved from South Africa?
I was 14.
And where did you move to at that age?
San Diego.
Who moved
San Diego mentioned.
with you to San Diego at that time?
My parents and my younger sister.
So what grade were you in when you moved to the United States?
9th grade.
Did your dad find work as a pharmacist?
Yes.
What did your mom do in San Diego?
She ran a home daycare.
Siblings?
Yes, 2 older brothers and a younger sister.
What year and what high school did you go to, and what year did you graduate?
I went to Rancho Bernardo High School, and I graduated in 1996.
Oh my gosh.
By the way, was growing up in South Africa,
San Diego kids.
was English your first language?
No,
What was?
Afrikaans.
Okay. After graduating from high school, did you go to college?
I did.
And where'd you go?
UC San Diego,
What did you major in?
bioengineering.
Now, the jury has heard about how later in life you married Ariel Coney. Was that your first marriage?
No,
Okay, were you married before that?
I was, yeah.
And to who?
Jesse Patella Ray.
Okay, how old were you when you and Jesse got together?
16 or 17, 11th grade in high school.
And then how old were you when the two of you got married?
20.
After graduating from college, what did you do?
I worked as a bioengineer for 5 years.
Okay, doing what kind of work?
It was a biotech startup company. We were doing tissue engineering.
Okay. We don't need to get into exactly what that is, but it's in the field of bioengineering.
Yeah. So specifically, we were growing tissue engineered blood vessels, and so we were taking skin cells from a person and culturing them in the lab and growing large diameter blood vessels specific to them, so they can use it for hemodialysis access or cardiac bypass grafts.
And where were you living when you were doing this work?
In Marin County, just north of San Francisco.
Okay, in California, but up by San Francisco.
Yes.
Did you and Jessica have kids while you were working and living in San Francisco?
Yes, 2 kids.
What are their names?
Ophelia and Emil.
Okay.
Yeah, Chet just says nothing about him. About this man said he did attempt to murder his wife is scary. It is scary. And I think that's why we have to be very careful about the way we naturally victim blame in culture. Because often there really isn't the signs you think there are. As much as we'd like to say like, oh, there was a sign, like not always, not the way that you would be trained to look for. And, you just never know what a person is capable of. And there you go. So like, yeah, right now he seems like a normal person. My family's in San Diego. I got a lot of family in San Diego. He's saying a lot of things that make me miss home. I'm feeling nostalgic. And yet I have to remember this woman bludgeoned his wife in the head with a rock. After 2 failed attempts to kill her, he went to bludgeoning her in the head with a rock and would have succeeded in killing her had 2 nurses, 2 hikers not come upon the almost murder scene. Yeah, scary.
And what years or how old are they?
Ophelia is almost 25, and Emil is 20.
Now, the jury has heard that you're a medical doctor. After doing this work in tissue genesis for a while, where'd you go to medical school?
At the University of Pittsburgh, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
And is that a good medical school?
It is. It has.
Pause. Chad says Ophelia must be the child that transitioned to a man he dead named him. He has a trans son? No way. I wondered where the other child was. I didn't know that. Where are you guys getting that information? Who said that? I want to know about his. Is that. Wait. So there's. What? There's an eldest daughter, but he called the son. Yes, Emil. Wait, what? Okay, I'm so confused. Because the son who took stand yesterday, who was here. Okay, I read it on Reddit. Oh, interesting. Okay.
A really good reputation, yeah.
So Ophelia and Emil were born before you started medical school? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why did you choose Pittsburgh?
Because of the reputation of the school and because the cost of living in Pittsburgh was low.
Okay. And you had the two young kids.
The two young kids, and I wasn't going to make any money, and it was a great place to go to school.
Did you graduate from medical school in 4 years?
Yes,
What year did you graduate from medical school?
2010.
After graduating from medical school, what did you do?
I did a 1-year internship, and then I did a 2-year research fellowship.
What was the
I wonder why his first wife and him broke up, and I wonder if the wife supports the trans child, right? So I wonder if they broke up because of those types of reasons. You know what I'm saying? I'm assuming. I mean, I don't know his political affiliation. I don't know, but I'm curious.
research fellowship in?
It was an NIH-funded fellowship at the University of Pittsburgh, and I did mostly blood transfusion research. Specifically, I was working on autotransfusion. It's when you take a patient's own blood that they're losing in the operating room, and I was figuring out ways how to give it back to them safely.
Okay. Did you and was that in the Pittsburgh area?
Yes.
Did you eventually do a residency?
Yes.
And in what field did you do your residency?
Anesthesiology.
If you could explain to the jury, what is anesthesiology? I mean, we all kind of know what it is, but generally, I mean, but how do you define anesthesia?
Yeah, anesthesiologists are, it's a specialty of medicine, and we're trained to acutely treat organ system failure and techniques to limit pain and awareness. And so basically what we do is we take care of patients that are either very ill or injured, and we keep them alive until they can get patched up. And we make sure that they don't feel or remember anything.
Okay. And why did you choose anesthesiology for your residency, and did you enjoy it?
Oh yeah, I loved it. It's all hands-on, which is kind of what my personality is and my background in engineering. So I like that about it.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean that was
Okay. So you enjoyed it.
yeah.
Now, what years were you doing your residency in anesthesiology?
2013 to 2016
And where was your residency at?
in Pittsburgh.
Now, you mentioned your residency 2012 to 2016. Did you at some point you and Jessica got divorced?
Yes.
Or approximately when was that? Or when did you separate?
We separated in 2014.
Okay.
I'm trying to look for any information about the possible child. I will say we don't want to spread misinformation, yes, but also the Daily Mail just put out an article April 1st saying that Ariel accused him of sexually abusing her. Not that we can trust the Daily Mail, but Renewed, who allegedly tried to push her off the cliff, claimed he had been sexually abusing her, claimed she tried to get a restraining order against him. So there is a lot about this case that's still coming out. So let's just keep that in mind. I don't know exactly every detail of what is true or not true, but we will figure it out, I guess, along with everybody else.
Was that during your residency?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, after 15 years marriage, and we try to make it work. We got married very, very young.
Okay. Did you after that you guys were both living in Pittsburgh?
Yes.
And were you involved in Emil and Ophelia?
Oh yeah, 50-50 custody.
50-50 custody.
Mm-hmm.
You finished your residency in 2016. What did you do for work when you were done with your residency?
I was hired as an anesthesiologist by UPMC. I worked at UPMC McGee Women's Hospital, and then I was also hired by University of Pittsburgh as a part-time assistant professor.
As a part.
Oh, okay. Good point from chat. Says maybe it's the coerced sex. Yeah, maybe it is the coerced sex part, right? I think the abuse was the coercive sex. Okay, well then I do consider that a sexual assault as well. I do consider that. I agree with that statement of him saying, if you really love me, you'll have sex with me every other day. Like, whoop, that's not how that works. Okay.
Assistant professor.
Okay, so in terms of your work that you were doing clinical work, actually treating patients in the hospital?
Yeah. So 4 out of 5 days, I was doing clinical work, anesthesiology, and basically 1 day a week. So 20% of my time, I was doing teaching and research.
And so teaching. Who were you teaching?
Anesthesiology residents, mostly at the hospital. And for the last 3 years that I was in Pittsburgh, I was the site director for the anesthesiology residency at my hospital. So I was in charge of the teaching of the residents at the hospital there.
And that was all in Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Okay, now, after separating from your first wife, did you at some point start dating again?
Yes.
And did you try out dating apps?
Yes.
How'd that go?
I used some free dating apps in the beginning and met some people and finally signed up for a paid app, eHarmony.
eHarmony. Mm-hmm. And after you signed up for eHarmony, Is that how you met Ariel?
Yeah, she actually found me on there, and we connected on there and chatted on there for a little while. And I think we connected in February of 2016, and then we met in the bar at the end of March 2016.
Your first time you met her, first date-ish, what you want to call it, was at a bar?
Yes.
In Pittsburgh? Okay, and then did you guys continue to see each?
Yes.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I should correct you.
Don't smile. Oh, he annoys me so much. How dare this man get on this stand and smile so casually, like you are not, literally, like you were not found trying to murder your wife. He's so annoying. Does he think he's on a TV show? He does. He thinks he's on a TV show right now. It's so rude. It's so offensive to the seriousness of this case that you are smiling. Did Ariel even smile? I don't even remember her smiling. Like, this shit is not funny. What are you smiling for? What are you remembering how nice it was to meet the wife that you would eventually try to murder? This is crazy. This is insane.
And after that, did you guys continue dating?
Yes.
Why is he smiling?
I think you said you met in 2016?
Yes.
Okay. When did you and Ariel get married?
2018.
Between 2016 and 2018, where were you living?
We were both living in Pittsburgh in like kind of different suburbs of the city. She lived north of the city, close to where she worked, and I lived kind of to the west of the city. We were about an hour apart, but so we spent 1 week at my house with the kids when we had the kids, and then we'd spend 1 week at her townhouse.
Okay.
North.
And that was in Pittsburgh?
In Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were working in the job you just described to us?
Yes.
Now, after your first divorce, you had 2 kids. Did you want to have more kids with?
I did.
With
Yeah.
Ari?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I had that in my profile on online dating, and
That you wanted to have more kids?
Yeah.
Okay. And did you and Miss Koenig have kids together?
yes, 2 kids.
And what are their names? And tell us when they were born.
Olin was born right in the middle of COVID, May 2020, and Vigo was born just a few weeks before we moved to Maui in 2023.
Just a few weeks before Maui?
Yeah.
Okay. In 2023.
Yeah.
So you guys are still living in Pittsburgh when, well, at least Olin, 2020, you guys are in Pittsburgh. Did there come a time when you and Ariel decided to make a move and move to Hawaii?
Yeah.
Tell us about why that came up and what was the interest and if it was a joint decision.
Yeah, it was a joint decision, and this is something that we kind of bonded over ever since we met, and we both love Pittsburgh and love the city and the town and Steelers fans, but we wanted to move somewhere where the weather's a little nicer, and she knew I had family in California, and so we had talked about that for a while, and then after we started having kids, we started talking about it some more and realized that actually our main priority is safety and just finding kind of a place where we can raise our kids in a safe environment.
What do you mean by safety?
Just like the random gun violence, like school shootings and things like that, were really concerning for us. We wanted to go to somewhere where that's relatively rare or, or less of a concern.
How did you guys decide on Maui?
I came to Oahu actually once during residency, when I was doing my research fellowship, and just kind of fell in love with the
He's a yapper. He's yapping. He's over-explaining. He's, you know what I'm saying? Like, girl, one-word answers. This isn't an interview for a date. You're on trial. You're on trial. You know what I mean? Like, he's literally like, oh my God. And then the weather was so nice. I wore my cute little pink skirt and I literally went out and I saw her smile. Like, girl, this isn't a story time. You're on trial.
atmosphere. There's just kind of a...
And I think you're right, Chad, that they're trying to make him out to be like, oh, just a nice guy who lives... You're crazy. That's even crazier. If this is a part of the defense's strategy to make him look like a normal guy, it's actually more insane. What normal man accused of murdering his wife is going to come give us a story time? Hello, sir?
Joy of life here, and the tempo is just different than anywhere else that I've been in the United States.
Okay. So you guys decide on Maui.
Well, and then we went to Maui for our honeymoon, and our friend's honeymoon too, and that's kind of how we got introduced to Maui.
Got it. Now, you said that it was a joint decision about kind of putting the kids first and safety.
Yeah.
Was it gonna?
Was it putting the kids first when you called your son and tried to implicate him in a murder? Was it putting your kids first when you tried to murder the mother of your children?
Moving from Pittsburgh to Maui, was it going to have an impact on both of your careers? And let's start first with yours. Tell the jury if it was it gonna. How was it, if any, going to affect your?
Yeah, it was going to have a big impact on my career. So I was going to have to give up the teaching and the research completely. And my job in Pittsburgh was at an academic medical center. And even when I wasn't working for the university, I was interacting with students and residents and things like that.
And on Maui, that was...
On Maui, it was just going to be like a community hospital, and so kind of very, very different.
And what about the research part of your job?
Yeah, so I have to give all that up.
And you're willing to do that?
Yeah, we were basically committed, both of us, to.
So they're going to paint him as like a father who gave up his career for the safety of his children to raise them in a safe environment. Where P.S. they are rich people in Hawaii, which is like has its own issue with people moving there and taking it away from locals. And Ariel says her mortgage is $8K a month. So if your mortgage is $8K a month and it should be 30% of your take home pay, right? Let's say even 50%. You know what I'm saying? Like, these aren't poor people. These are rich people moving to a state that is already struggling, and the locals and natives are already feeling like they're getting kicked out of their own place by people coming in. And it's like, there's so many layers to this that are so interesting. So the fact that they moved their kids to this place for safety, you know what I'm saying? It's just, it's all, the layers of this is just obnoxious.
Going somewhere where we could focus on the family and slower pace of life, at least until the boys were out of high school.
Okay, so now you just shared about the effect it's going to have on your career. What about Ariel's career? Explain to that. She talked about being, at least for a while, in the nuclear industry. So when this decision was being made about moving, what was going on with her career, and what was her, how was this going to?
Yeah. So by the time we made the decision to actually move, which was like in the summer of 2022, it actually didn't affect her career that much. If we had made that decision earlier, it would have had a much bigger impact.
Is he looking at the jury? Is he looking at the jury? You can't look at the jury. You can't engage with the jury. He's talking to the jury. He's talking to them. Objection. He is. He's looking at them. Look at this.
Why?
It actually didn't affect her career that much. If we had
He's looking at them.
made that decision earlier, it would have had a much bigger
Why is he talking to the jury? They can't do that. That's literally, I don't know nothing about this bubble, but the one thing I know is you can't play with the jury.
impact.
Why wasn't it going to affect her career that much? At that point?
So she was working. So before COVID, she was working 100% in-house, full time.
Somebody's
And then during
laughing.
COVID, her job went remote, like most people's jobs did. And then during COVID, we also had Olin, and she realized at that point that she didn't want to go back to working in person again.
Okay.
That she felt she could accomplish a lot more at home.
It's so what is happening? Am I stupid? Somebody, is there a lawyer in the chat right now? Why is he looking so aggressive? He's like turning his body. It's so aggressive to me. And we know, because we've been watching everyone else, like, we know, you know what I mean? We know that they didn't engage with the jury that way. They didn't sit there. Ariel didn't sit there. You know what I'm saying? Like, hello?
Working and just be much more efficient. And it also allowed her to just be home more with the kids and the family.
Was she still?
And that
was she still in the nuclear industry when you guys decided to move?
No. So and then she actually quit her job a few months before we started talking seriously about moving.
Oh, great point. Okay, two things from chat. One, it's not uncommon for defendants to be coached to try to connect with them, make the defendant seem more like a person, not a lawyer, just have watched trial coverage. Okay, and I understand he can look at the jury, but this is too much, right? Isn't this like too much? And then chat, great point, says, Gerhardt looks manipulative to us. Maybe he looks manipulative to the room. That's my question. Because remember when I reviewed the Diddy case on my, I think it was a members video. I reviewed I think it's public. I think it's public now. I think you guys can watch it. Everyone can watch it. The people in the court said Diddy was charming. That Diddy was, from just where he was sitting, was like, they knew him, like they grew up with him, even if they didn't know him, but he was charming. Just to hear that he was charming. I don't think Diddy ever took the stand, but just from his seat in the courtroom to say he was charming, I think that's the point. And interesting that Gerhardt the whole time has been like this. And the moment he's on the stand, he's like, so anyways, and then we went to Hawaii, super duper fun. Oh my God, highly recommend. Like, you know what I mean? He's doing this like switch in personality where now he's talking about how great of a place it is. Next, he's going to say, you guys should totally get a timeshare there. He's going to be like, oh my God, everybody should move to Hawaii. Like, that's the next thing I expect to come out of his mouth. And the jury's like, oh my God, I would love Hawaii. Like, what is happening? Kind of crazy.
Moving. And she was applying to jobs at software companies and other industries and nuclear as well. And then we decided to move, and so this was all kind of happening at the same time.
Okay. And was she able to get this job? She talked about TerraPower that allowed her to work virtually?
Yes. And so she was actually hired, I think, like as I was interviewing in Maui, she got hired at TerraPower. So she started her job at TerraPower while we were still in Pittsburgh.
Okay. But they were going to allow her to.
And then after the move, yes. So she got a fully remote job based out of Pittsburgh for this company that's based in Seattle. And then we moved to Maui, and then she kept working for the same company.
Okay. I want to ask you, Emil. So
Yes.
Ophelia is older than Emil?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but when you guys start thinking about moving, how old was Emil, and how did that factor into the timing of when you were going to move and if?
So Emil is actually the reason we moved when we did.
Are they in the courtroom, Emil and Ariel? Like, do they have to sit there and watch him do this?
Okay,
So,
explain that.
Yeah, so Ari and I had talked for a while about moving out of Pittsburgh, and the trigger was going to be when Emil graduated high school.
You guys are waiting. You guys are going to wait till he graduates.
Yeah, because we didn't want to leave
Okay.
him, and we didn't want to ask his mom to if we could take him.
So what happened?
He basically talked us into letting him ask his mom, and because he's like,
Oh my God, I love he is being so obnoxious. Is this going to work? Could the jury really fall for this? Sir, we saw your son testify yesterday, devastated that his father called him, admitted he tried to kill Ariel, and he's getting on this podium. This is so weird. This is so scary to me. Like, this is so like what they call that Canny Valley. Isn't this so weird? Like as if we did. You know what I'm saying? Like, this feels like, when some shit goes down, and then somebody comes in and tries to act like it didn't just happen. But that's what's kind of crazy. Yeah, Uncanny Valley. That's what it is. Like, Uncanny Valley. Thank you, chat. Thank you. That's what it feels like. It's like, hey, why are you pretending like this? Like, that's what I'm so scared. I'm literally so unnerved by his attempt to try to be normal when this is a very abnormal situation.
if you guys are going to go somewhere sunny after high school, I want to go with you, and I want to go before high school is over because I want to move somewhere earlier so I can make friends and kind of get connected to the community. And I said, I don't think your mom's going to let you leave. And he said, let me just talk to her. And after months of that, I said, okay, if you want to ask her, you can. And he asked her, and she actually said yes. And so that triggered us to.
Yeah, Chad said it perfectly. It's so eerie. Like, everyone else is so serious and heartbroken, and then there's that guy. This is what it is. You said it perfectly. Exactly. It's like, we are all so devastated over everything that happened, and like everyone is so sad, and this is so. And then here's this guy's like, it's so weird. It's so strange.
I said, oh shoot, now we can move earlier, and so.
Let me ask you about that. So at this point, Emil was about what age?
15.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you talked about how you were married and while he was growing up, and then how old was he roughly when you guys got divorced, you and his mom, roughly?
9.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so from when he was born till 9, you're obviously very active in his life. Is that right?
Yes.
And then after that, you had him every other week. Is
Yes,
that right?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
And then come a time now he's 16, and he's actually asking if he can go to Maui with you. Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, he's asking if he can go to Maui. I don't know if he's asking to go live with his dad, right? But he is asking if he can go to Maui. I mean, Maui to go live in an $8K a month house? Girl, if I was a teenager and my dad moved to Maui, girl, bring me along with you. Moana, Ohana, We Are Family, Lilo and Stitch, let's go. Okay, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's acting like he's going there for his dad alone. You don't even know if he likes his dad. Maybe he does. Maybe he loves his dad. We don't know. But I'm pretty sure he's just a teenager getting excited to live in a place many people don't have the privilege of living, given this, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. No, we've had a really good
Okay.
relationship.
And so that kind of made the timeline where you guys could go sooner. Is that right?
Yes.
And what about Ophelia? By the time you guys were moving, was she already over 18?
Yeah, she was, and she had moved out of the house already, and so yeah, she didn't come to Maui with us.
Okay. Now, so when you first moved here, did Emil then finish high school in Maui?
Yes, Maui High.
We heard about how Miss Koenig's parents, or Ariel's parents, also moved to Maui. How did that happen?
Yeah, no, they. That was really nice, actually, how it worked out. But because we didn't have any family here,
Okay.
and 2 young boys.
Yeah, not only, Jet's right, he's not just moving for his dad maybe, but also Ariel and also his brothers and also his family. Like, there's a lot of reasons why he would want to move there.
But when we told them we're moving to Maui from Pittsburgh, and they were living in Florida at the time, they said that's too far, and they
be
actually decided
away from you guys.
Yeah, and so they decided they're going to move to California because they didn't want to move to Hawaii, but they'd never been to Hawaii, and so they had this trip planned where they were going to go look at a few different places in California, and we convinced them to come to Hawaii too for a few days,
Okay.
just to basically visit with us.
Yeah, and trying to see if they
well,
like it.
we just told them, just come visit with us and we'll show you where we're going to live.
Yeah.
This was right before we actually moved. And
Did they like it?
In less than 24 hours, they were like, "We're coming here." Yeah,
And that was okay with you?
Yeah, it was great because they ended up buying a house just down the street from our house, and we see them, we would see them all the time, and they're a big help with the kids, and it was just nice to have family on the island.
So you, when did you guys move then to Maui?
So I had to give 6 months notice at my job, so I got a job offer like August of 2022, but we didn't end up moving until end of February of 2023.
Okay. And your job offer on Maui was what?
It was so the group's called TMG, and we're the only anesthesiology group on the island. It's a private practice group,
So you applied with them?
Yeah.
And they hired you?
Yes.
So I know this is a big question, but I'm going to ask you to kind of just maybe summarize. You get here to Maui, March 2023. You got these 2 young kids, your son's here, your in-laws are here. You got a job. What was life like for you and your family from March 2023 until December 2024? Can you just summarize what it was like?
Yeah, it was amazing. The move was a little stressful at first getting here, but once we were here and settled.
Chet says, can we slow it down just for a second to see if we perceive his character differently? Sure. Okay, that was 1.2. That's usually how we watch content here. I just do not watch content at normal speed ever. Maybe TV shows, or maybe like acting TV shows. But let's see if we have a different experience of him. I'll play it for a few minutes.
In. It was our dream life. So we bought a house really close to the hospital, so I could walk to work, and it also meant that I could take all my call shifts from home. And whenever I was done at the day, I could be home in a few minutes. And it translated into me being home a lot more than I was in Pittsburgh at my previous job. And so that meant that I was spending a lot more time with the kids and with Ari and with Emil. I was doing a lot of home improvement projects, and then as a family we were doing lots of exploring. Like every weekend we would explore Maui. We did a lot of beach activities. We went to the beach almost every weekend, snorkeling, surfing, paddleboarding, hiking.
Okay, so it was a good life.
Yeah, we made a bunch of friends through my work and through Olin's preschool, some of his friends and friends' parents, and we were getting settled in.
Yeah, and let me ask you, Ariel, when you testified, when the detective asked her about how the marriage was before December 2024, she said it was a good marriage. Did you agree with that?
I thought it was a great marriage, yeah.
Okay.
I totally agree.
I just had a question. That being said, during that time period, did it ever come up that area between that time period, did moving back to the mainland ever come up?
It did. So her job, and when she was first hired by Terra Power, they had asked her to move to Seattle, and they said, "Hey, would you move to Seattle?" And she said no.
Okay.
And then a few times they had kind of asked her again to, if she would consider that.
Okay.
Our plan was always to at least stay in Maui until the kids graduate high school, and then we can kind of focus on our careers again, and let the career drive the decisions.
Now, I was asking a little bit about your marriage during that time period, and this came up with
the way he said that just now. So let's talk about your marriage. Spill the tea. What do you think? When did you decide to hit her in the head with a rock? Like, when did we make that decision to be like, love her, marriage is great, to I'm going to kill the bitch? Like, when do you think that happened? That's how he sounds to me.
Ariel, in your marriage back then, who handled the financial affairs more so? Like, taxes, life insurance, finances between the two of you?
I did.
Okay. And why was that so?
I'm a very meticulous kind of person that keeps track of everything, and so it's just kind of more naturally in my,
Yeah, pretty organized.
Yeah.
Did you have, like computer files with different, insurance, taxes, all that stuff?
And all of our things were joint. We didn't have any separate anything, and so I ended up taking care of most of those things.
And those computer files,
and they were all in a shared drive that we shared, and so she had access to everything, and she contributed and as well. But
okay.
I took care of most of it.
Okay. And you would kind of from time to time look into the files or update the files, or
all the time.
Okay.
What do we think? What do we think now that it's like slowed down and at regular speed? Do we see anything significantly different? I mean, obviously at this point it's making him look like a little less perky, but it did for everybody else. But we watched everybody else on 1.2, which we're going to go back to because this is a long court case and I'm neurodivergent and I can't watch things at regular speed. But what do you guys think? It's been a few minutes. Just kind of like, it feels like a show. It feels like he's acting. It feels so different than everybody else. Like, everybody else was so serious. Like, this was such a serious moment. I mean, he literally tried to kill her, right? And now it feels like he's telling me a story time and I just didn't ask for it. And I know, like I understand this is the job of the defense. This is the job everyone has to do. And look, people were criticizing me for being so hard against the defense lawyer. But let me just say this. I understand system speaking, everyone should have accessibility to a defense lawyer that's going to fight for them. Person to person, I hope your pillow is always warm and you never sleep a day in your life. But only because human to human, I don't know how you can spend your life defending this man. And I also understand being a lawyer is not that simple. I'm very empathetic to the situation defense lawyers are in. And also you can go fuck yourselves. But also I understand we want a system that, you know, everyone should have the right to a true defense. 100%. And also I'm just a girl and I have opinions. Okay. So I get it. Okay. We understand. We're not trying to be like deeply unempathetic to the situation everyone is in. And also this woman was bludgeoned in the head with a rock. So the only person that I have the most amount of empathy and sympathy for is her and her kids. And the women who had to come upon him attempting to murder Ariel. That's really my focus.
All the time?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you just described a great life and great marriage. Did there come a time in 2024, Gerhard, when that changed?
Yes.
First of all, in 2024, at some point, well, let me ask you this preliminarily. Did Ariel have to travel for work?
She did, yeah.
Okay, and that's because she was working virtually?
Yeah, just like three or four times a year.
Okay. Did there come a time in 2024 when Ariel traveled to South Africa for work?
Yes.
Do you remember when that was roughly?
At the end of August of 2024.
And who was she going with, to your knowledge, at the time?
It was a pretty important trip for her because it was just the CEO of the company, another man that was high up in the company called Jeff Miller, and herself.
Okay. Now, I want to ask you this. By the way, when you guys were on Maui working, and she was working virtually, like, where was she actually doing her work, like, when she was working?
Yeah, she had a home office set up. But it was
in her house?
In her house,
Okay.
but it was in our bedroom. So, and there was no divider or anything between it. So her desk was basically right next to our bed. So like a third of the space in the bedroom was taken up by her office.
And when what were her hours? Was she on Seattle time? She started?
Mostly West Coast time, sometimes East Coast time. So she would usually get up
Early.
either 4 or 5 a.m. and start work around there, and then work until around 2 p.m.
Oh my God. The lawyer keeps talking over him and they keep talking over each other. It's like, it does feel like the lawyer is like trying to get to the next question and Gerhard talks a lot, but also, didn't they rehearse this? Didn't they practice?
You, because it was in your bedroom, were you exposed a lot to her
yeah.
work and her things she was doing? And
yeah,
the
she has
people?
a huge monitor on her desk. She has one of those desks that can go up and down.
Okay.
Yeah, how are you paying $8K a month for a mortgage and you don't have an extra office in the house? That's actually kind of crazy. I mean, I guess they have 3 kids at home and 2 adults, but you guys don't have an extra room for her to have an office? No judgment. Look, I feel very lucky that I have an office in this apartment. I've never had one my whole life, and it is such a game changer in terms of mental health. Working from inside your bedroom, it was weighing on me. Like, the place you sleep is the place you work, it's just so annoying. So having an office in this apartment is life-changing, but I'm kind of shocked. You know what I'm saying? I guess the houses are much smaller in Hawaii, I suppose.
And it's facing into the room, and all of her meetings are on speakerphone.
Okay. Prior to this, leading up to this South Africa trip, you mentioned did she go with a man named Jeff Miller?
Yes.
Did you have any concerns about Jeff Miller at that time?
No.
I know you mentioned no concerns, but was there anything weird on that trip, behavior-wise, that you took notice of? The South African trip?
Yeah, it was a really quick trip. It was just 2 nights. But the one weird thing was that on the second night, I remember noticing that she never contacted me at the end of the day, and that's kind of out of character. Whenever she went on work trips, she would always kind of check in at some point. At the end of the day, even usually we would check in several times during the day as well, and just do text. We would text a lot.
Okay.
The one night on that trip, she never reached out, and I was at work, and by the time I got home and realized that she hadn't reached out, I knew she was asleep, and so I didn't reach out to her either. But normally she would reach out to me when she's done with her work day.
Did you see much of it at the time, or?
No, I took note of it, and I asked her about it, and she just said, like, I'm so sorry. We got
Pause. If my partner did message me at the end of the night and they were out of town, I would be concerned that something had been wrong. And I don't know how abnormal or normal that is in their relationship. You know, I don't trust anything he's saying. P.S. I literally don't. But to use his comment to jump off and talk about something else or something similar, I will just say that, you know, again, him not even like, did he text her and say, hey, I'm worried about you, are you okay? Was he concerned? Was it really that big of a deal? Like, that's the thing, is like, in my marriage, I would think like, oh, something bad happened, like I need to call someone and confirm you're not dead, you know? So again, I don't know if he's trying to imply, like, it's kind of interesting the way people perceive that simple interaction about texting or not texting, right?
At home, we got back late from dinner with the hosts who were hosting us, and I'm sorry, I should have texted, but I didn't.
Now, she returns from South Africa.
Okay, so she said, I'm sorry I didn't text. I was busy. I was with the host. I should have texted. Okay, I guess it happens.
Later on in 2024, did you and your family go on a trip to Kauai?
We did, yeah.
When was that roughly?
In October. I think it was October. Yeah, we told Emil as a graduation present we'll take him to one of the other islands that he hasn't been to yet for a little trip, and he picked Kauai.
He picked Kauai. Now, did anything happen on this Kauai trip that made you become concerned to a degree about Mr. Miller?
Yeah, a little bit. Like,
What happened? Tell the jury what happened.
Yeah. So we were there.
So now he's instructing him to literally talk to the jury, which I understand is maybe a part of the rules, but I don't like it.
At the end of, I think from like Thursday to Monday or something like that. So it overlapped with her work week a little bit, and she was able to take most of the time off. But there was a few meetings that she still had to do that she couldn't. And so and they're early morning meetings because they were West Coast time, and I just overheard her talking to him on the phone and from the other room, and it just seemed that they had a very familiar tone, more so than what I was used to, the way that she used to talk to him and the way that she talked to her other work colleagues.
Now, you get back from Kauai. After the trip, from October to December, did you notice any other red flags or concerning behavior?
Yeah. So
what
happened? The biggest. But the only thing that I noticed was that she was constantly on her phone. She was just constantly on her phone.
Was that more so than usual?
Yeah, much more than usual. And she would hide the screen from me. So
what do you mean by that?
Like, if you're sitting next to somebody and they're on their phone, like, you can just notice that they're sitting in a way. They're constant. They're always just like moving their.
What if you like walked into a
screen.
room when she was on?
Yeah, when I walked in the room, she would turn the screen off or turn her phone upside down.
Yeah, so like if that was starting to happen in your marriage, I would talk to my partner about it. Hey, I love you. Are you okay? It seems like you're hiding something from me. Can we talk about it? Because that would be abnormal in my relationship, right? And I'm not saying that Ariel wasn't starting to form feelings. I'm not saying that they didn't have the beginning of what could have turned into a full-blown affair, though we know by the text messages that it didn't even get close yet. So again, his reaction to those messages don't make sense given that it didn't even get that far yet, right? And then from my understanding, her coworker is also married with kids. So there's a lot here that's messy and very human messiness. But again, none of this ever could warrant murdering and bludgeoning your partner to death, right? Right? So all of this is ridiculous. Like, we cannot, there is almost, the only thing he could say that could make any of us change our mind is Ariel literally said, I'm going to kill you. I have evidence. I have proof that she made the first move, that she pulled out a knife or tried to kill me. Like, there is nothing in this story from witnesses to evidence that show that she intended to murder him, but there's everything to show he intended to murder her. So you have to prove to me that he didn't intend to murder her. That's all I care about. I don't care if she cheated. I don't care about anything else. Did you try to kill her? That's all that matters here. Her affair is not on trial. Your murder attempt is.
Did you ask her about it?
I did several times, and she would always say, "I'm talking to Gianna. I'm talking to Gianna," which is her best friend.
Who's Gianna?
Gianna's her best friend.
Okay.
Pause. Just for the record, I don't snoop through my partner's phone. I don't snoop through their computer. And if I thought something was going wrong, I'd say, I love you. We have an informed consent relationship, which is different than other people's models. I would say, I need to look through your phone. Show me the messages. You're being too weird for me because our marriage is so informed consent that I'm going to need to see it. And then he would just be, yeah, of course, bro. And then he would show me. And then I'd be like, oh, okay. The fact is, most people don't believe in informed consent marriages. I do. I really recommend them. You don't have to do it, of course. But for us, we want our partners to be informed about the messages we're sending, who we're talking to, what's going on, but not in a, I'm paranoid, my partner's cheating way. In a, I have nothing to hide, so why not? There is just nothing on my phone that I wouldn't care if the world saw. It's just not that interesting. Like with peace and love, guys, most of us do not have interesting lives. Most people are not interesting. Most of us just have nothing that we couldn't put completely on the internet. The only thing that would be embarrassing is just like maybe the vulnerabilities or maybe like, I don't know, I got some porn on there or something. But like most of us do not have anything that realistically the world could not see. You know what I'm saying? So the idea that your married partner that you have kids with, that like you built a life with, is like, hey, let me look at your phone. You're like, no. What do you mean no? What is on your phone that you couldn't even show the world if you had to? You know what I'm saying?
So,
Oh, and also I just want to say that in abusive relationships is not uncommon, though, again, there's caveats to this. It is not uncommon for people to naturally go and confide in people and then feelings start naturally because, guys, we don't choose who we fall in love with. Sometimes it happens. Like you don't plan on it. Sometimes you're just getting close to somebody. Sometimes it's even a girlfriend that you don't even realize you're gay. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I've been spending all this time with my bestie and I realize like I'm in love with her. Like shit happens. So again, like we have to be aware of these things. So I'm not saying again that Ariel maybe wasn't falling in love with her coworker. I'm saying once again, it doesn't matter. Get a divorce like everybody else. And also that is different than, and the problem is I've heard men do this where I've heard men say like, because I have a belief that in a truly abusive relationship, like the marriage is over. There is no marriage, right? And I would recommend for victims of abuse to not engage with new partners. And I said this at the beginning, because if that new partner is willing to put you in a compromising situation where if your abusive partner finds out your life is threatened, then not only does the person not love you you're married to, the person you're engaging with doesn't either. If you're in a truly abusive marriage, I really highly recommend getting out being the major focus and priority, because obviously now we have two men who don't care about you. Now we have two men who are willing to put you in a compromising situation. I've said this to friends of mine who have been vulnerable and rejected by men. And so, you know, they'll believe the lies of married men who are like, I'm going to leave my wife for you. I'm going to be with you. I'm going to pick you. But now these men made you. Now you believe this man was going to leave his wife for you. So now you're the woman who's a homewrecker. Now you're the woman with the bad reputation. Now he gets to say you seduced him and said you're just the person who wanted to believe that a man would love you so much he would like uproot his life for you. It's like all of this is damage. You guys are so damaged. Everybody is so damaged. And I'm saying we have to understand that. Now I've also had men say, I've had a man tell me, I was being abused in my marriage, so I had to cheat. And I was like, why didn't you just divorce them? And they're like, well, I told them like, I'm going to sleep with other people and they didn't want me to, but the marriage was over to me. And I was like, so did you cheat or did you not cheat? They're like, well, I technically cheated because I was married. I was like, but if you told your partner the marriage was over, then you're not cheating. And they're like, well, but I was still married. I was like, I'm confused. See, I'm confused. Did you cheat or did you not cheat? Don't play games with me. Is your marriage over or is it not over? That's the thing. He's like, I think like this is the problem. So what he's trying to do is he's trying to say Ariel's this horrible woman who is doing all these horrible things. Ariel, guarantee you, was most likely a neglected spouse of a partner with none of the tools to get out of this marriage, which is why we have to destigmatize divorce, which is why we have to empower women to be independent and also give people tools. And then she confided in a coworker, one thing led to another, and they started to get feelings for each other. Okay, I hardly doubt Ariel met her coworker with the intent to sleep with him or seduced him. It probably just happened. And by the way, this man is married with kids. So now his wife they got to work on their marriage, right? Yeah, it's not perfect. It's gross. And also it's human. It happens. And also that's very different than a man maliciously hiding a second family or having an affair or sleeping with you know what I mean? These are not the same thing. Not all cheating is the same, but all cheating is a sign of toxicity and or could be abuse, right? So he's acting like she had a second family somewhere and a whole life he didn't know about. That's not what's happening here. Okay? So, okay.
So you did ask her about it a couple of times,
Yeah, more than a couple.
and you continue to see this concerning. Well, was this behavior concerning to you?
Yes.
And
I was just, yeah, I was curious.
Okay.
I was concerned. You're right.
and did she told you it was, don't worry, it was just Gianna.
Yeah, and she was like defensive about it.
Okay. Now, what did that lead you to do in early December? All this
Yeah.
behavior, red flags.
No, when she kept doing it and she kept being defensive, I unlocked her phone
Okay.
and while she was sleeping.
Now, do you recall when you did this? There's been talk about a San Luis Obispo trip, right? Were you guys going to go on a trip in December?
Yes,
And with who?
with our friends Bryant and Gianna.
And so, what day of the week were you going to leave for the trip, if you recall?
So Ari and Gianna were going to be there on Wednesday,
Okay.
and Bryant and I were going to join them on Thursday.
So the girl.
It was so endearing when Emil called her Ari, like as a nickname. It is not cute when he does it. I don't like it.
Were going first.
Yeah, and then we're all staying.
It's a form of intimacy and closeness he doesn't deserve anymore since he tried to bludgeon her in the head with a rock. He doesn't get to use familiar or affectionate nicknames for someone he tried to kill.
there until Sunday.
The girls were going to go spend a night together.
Yeah, so they had like a girls' day planned,
Okay.
and they wanted to just go for the first day. The trip was mostly for Gianna's birthday
So that was going to be on a Wednesday. When did you look into her phone?
on Monday night.
Okay. Right before.
See, I kind of feel like if you're snooping through your partner's phone, the marriage is over. I take a strong stance on this. If you are putting me in a position to look through your phone, the marriage is over. I'm not working on this marriage. I refuse to sign up for a marriage where I have to sneak into your phone. Don't ever make me do this. Don't ever put me in a position where I have a need to figure out how to get into your computer. The marriage is over. That's what I'm saying. This whole thing, like, girls, not worth it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I might as well stay single. You know, but if you feel like this is happening, then I would have an exit plan. If you're in a marriage where you genuinely feel like you are terrified for your life or you need to check your partner's phone, that's the part where divorce needs to start talking. You need to have a conversation about divorce. Because, like, what are we talking about?
Sure, a couple days before.
I've never even looked through my siblings' phones. Guys, I've never looked through someone's phone. I've never gone through my siblings' phones. I've never gone through an ex's phone. I have never looked through people's phones. That is none of my business. Now, again, if I say, hey, can I borrow your phone? And they're like, yeah, but don't look through it. I'm like, okay, girl, I'm not trying to look at your nudes. I just need a phone. But if I have a friend who's like, hey, I don't want you to use my phone, I'm not comfortable with it, I'd be like, the fuck? What do you mean? Like, I can't even look at your phone? Like, I can't even go, like, I can't call somebody on your phone? You know what I mean? So, like, again, there's so many layers to this.
Yeah.
So tell the jury what you discovered.
So Monday night, when I looked at her phone, I went to the screen time application on the iPhone, and then I noticed that the app with the highest usage was an app called WhatsApp. And I was
What is WhatsApp?
WhatsApp is a communications app. So it has texting, it has voice calls, and video calls. So instead of using your phone's built-in texting or voice or video, you go through WhatsApp.
Okay.
It's separate from the phone.
So then when she saw that?
Yeah. So then
Well, first of all, I mean, was that surprising to
it
you?
was. I had not seen her on WhatsApp at all over the previous months, and so I was very surprised about that. And then I also saw that she had turned off all the notifications for WhatsApp, so she had everything silenced for
Okay.
WhatsApp. And then it wasn't like on the main screen; it was like a couple pages over in a folder, so it was kind of hidden.
So did you open the WhatsApp?
Yeah, so I opened the WhatsApp.
What did you see?
And there were two.
Because just a reminder, guys, you can either paint this story as somebody who's having a secret affair, or you can paint this story because, like, she could have done the same thing for a close friend. Because here's the problem that I want people to understand. Like, if she felt unsafe, because we don't know what led up to this situation. Maybe it was just hey, I was in a situation where I got close to a coworker. We were working together. We had feelings for each other. It happens. But, we really didn't act on them. We played with fire a bit, and we shouldn't have. And that's something you can work on. And I would say, yeah, that happens. Human beings are biological creatures. They're going to have attraction to other people. You guys definitely should have been more appropriate. It happens. You can work through this. Okay. You can move on from this. It's inappropriate, but it's not even a full affair. Okay. It's not sexting. You're not sending nudes. You're not talking about running away together. It happens. Okay. We can move through this. But let's say she was being severely abused and she had a secret folder on her phone away from her spouse. You're allowed to keep abusers outside of your business. Like you know what I'm saying? Like you're allowed to hide information from abusers. You can't then justify doing something unethical because you're abused. Like you can't say, if she had a secret folder on her phone to collect evidence against her abusive partner, she wouldn't be like secretly keeping a folder. She'd be defending herself. You know what I mean? If she was saying, well, I'm abused, like, okay, so this man told me one time, I'm allowed to cheat on my wife because I'm being abused. And I'm like, or you could divorce her. And keep in mind, he was cheating with like much younger, hot people, right? Like you know what I'm saying, sir? You know what I mean, sir? Like, come on. Like, don't fuck with me, okay? Don't play with me, you know? Because I want to believe these stories. I want to be like, oh my God, that's so sad. Like, you were being abused and you had no choice. Oh my God. But like, no, like, you know, not every situation is like that. And that's the dilemma, is like, sometimes I do think that, and this shows with divorces. You know how they say like women are the reason people get divorces, as if that's a negative thing. Well, women also check out relationships earlier. Women also do their research. Women are also raised differently under patriarchy. Like men also feel entitled to women's bodies. I mean, look at him demanding sex, right? Look at him feeling entitled to her body, that he's like, if you really love me, you'll have sex with me. What? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like every part of this story is absolutely also gendered and filtered through the patriarchy. So there's a lot of layers to this, you know?
Conversations with Jeff Miller. And the way WhatsApp works is that your account is always linked to a phone number. And so the one conversation was a conversation with his work phone, and the other conversation was a conversation with his personal phone.
Okay. And so let's talk about the conversation with his personal phone. What tell the jury what you saw?
Yeah, it was. So what I saw, so this was Monday night. What I saw was that the messages from Monday and from Sunday, so the previous 2 days, it was like a full-on conversation the entire day long, and it would start off. Yeah, and it would start off at like 2 a.m. Hawaii time. So and Jeff Miller lives in Maryland, and he travels extensively for work. Like he probably travels 3 out of every 4 weeks. And I know this because I'm always hearing them on the phone and talking about that. So basically, you know, wherever he was, he'd be texting her good morning. But it wasn't just like a good morning text. It was like 5 or 6 texts. It's like a whole like good morning. I had a great, I slept great. I'm looking forward to the day. I hope you're sleeping great. And then at like 5:45 a.m., her good morning.
She would be responding.
She would respond, and then the whole day long, like, this is where I am. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm thinking. Until good night at the end of the day, and that was for Sunday and Monday.
Okay.
So for the 2 previous days.
So Sunday is a weekend, right?
Right.
Yeah. So you saw on a Sunday. We saw the text from December 1st.
Yeah, she's I'm at work. I'm on call for the weekend, and she's at home decorating and hanging out with the kids and
texting him all day.
Okay. And then
go ahead.
When I scroll back past that, it's very strange because then between so the thread was created on June 4th or something like that, because WhatsApp puts when the thread was created in the app.
Okay.
And there was no messages between June 4th and August 30th, which was like a few days after the South Africa trip. And then between August 30th and Sunday, it was very strange because there was like fragments of conversation or little short things, and then mostly just pictures and songs and links. And it was basically Jeff sending her a bunch of pictures of himself, a bunch of song links that she had saved, and her sending him like a bunch of pictures too.
Did you, when you said it was strange because there were things missing, did it seem to you like things were being deleted?
Well, yeah, because obviously that was. I mean, there was an abrupt cutoff between, like, what.
So he's saying in this months-long affair that's so salacious, they deleted only 1 day of content? I'm confused. Is he saying there was 2 days of content or something? But right now, he's making it not even sound that bad. Just like we reviewed the text messages. They weren't that bad, right? They weren't anything really, right? Like barely anything. I mean, again, I would have to, reading those messages, I'm so queer that it's hard for me because, again, for me in my relationships, most of my text messages between everybody sound the same way. But I don't know what straight people are going through. I know you guys are suffering so deeply, but I don't know, like, what straight people would feel about this conversation. I don't know, really. I would have to read minds. I would have to leap to conclusions. But based off the text messages we saw, okay, if you guys haven't seen that video, you can review it in the playlist. They sound like text messages I would send my mother-in-law. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a little confused about the rules of their marriage. But again, if I was this suspicious, if I was this concerned, this is where in my marriage, because it's healthy and wonderful and no one's going to kill each other, fingers crossed, we would sit down and say, hey, I love you. I'm deeply concerned about what has been happening, and we really have to solve it. So do you want to get a therapist? What do you want to do? Like, something's going on, right? Like, we would have to have the convo, because I'm not going to go about my day, girl, like we're normal. If you know what I'm saying? Like, how long has he even known about these messages? I'm not about to play ignorant. Like, sit down. We're having the conversation. Especially in the position I'm in. Sit down. I'm about to go back to the USA, baby. Okay, I did not just move to a different country for you to cheat on me. So what is happening? You know what I mean? Like, there would be a conversation. So for him, you know, and I think for a lot of people in the world, they don't have those types of conversations. They never have serious, real conversations. Like, we do not go to bed unless we solve problems. A rule in this marriage is we are not going to bed until we solve this. So no sleep for any of us. And that is a rule I see in most healthy marriages. Almost every marriage I like, that I feel is really healthy, they don't go to bed until we solve the problems. Or if we take a break, it's a hiatus. But they're not even solving it at this point. So at this point, he snuck through her phone, saw text messages, and though he, quote, asks her about it, they aren't having serious conversations. You know? They're not having serious conversations. So we need to encourage that in people to have those, right? Just that I can see where good morning and good night text with another man could be concerning. I can see how it could be concerning too. I also could see how it could be completely normal. The question is, what are the rules in this marriage? What are the rules in this bubble, right? What are the rules of this relationship? Because again, nothing, of course, warrants the fact that he tried to kill her. That's the problem of trying to paint her like a harlot or something. No amount of affair could justify him wanting to kill her. This is why I say you can't kill your abusers. Unless it's direct self-defense, you cannot kill your abusers, guys. That doesn't make you self-defense. It just makes you a murderer. Okay? You cannot go hunt down the man who beat you. But if you, in middle of him beating you, shoot him, that's called self-defense. But you can't, you know what I'm saying? You can't go hunt him down. He was methodical. He got her into a position. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he is trying to confuse us. He's trying to make us even have this conversation in the first place. I shouldn't even be talking about this, because that is the point of the court. They are trying to make us now debate what is cheating. It doesn't matter. He tried to kill her.
What's before Sunday and Monday, and that conversation and everything else that was on there.
Let me ask you this. Seeing all of that, you know, here you are, a couple of months now, you have some suspicion, some red flags. Asked her about it a couple of times. She denies it, defensive. Now you open it up, and you see this.
Yeah.
Tell the jury how you felt. How did it make you feel?
I was devastated. There's obviously something going on,
Okay. So
I didn't know what to do.
okay. So what did you do?
So I had actually started using WhatsApp myself when we moved to Maui, because that's the main communication platform that the anesthesiology group uses, and so I was using it every day.
Pause. Okay. So first, he almost tried to bring on the waterworks. Boo. Second of all, okay, he literally goes, oh, Ariel hasn't been on WhatsApp forever. It's so weird that she's using it. Yeah, we use WhatsApp. It's like pretty normal for us. Oh, so now WhatsApp is normal for you, but it's not normal for her. Girl, I've been using WhatsApp for years. Okay. Third of all, this lawyer sucks. If honestly, like, I feel like he's fumbling the case on purpose because he knows his client's guilty. But like the way he's even over talking and interrupting him, he's not even giving his client time to even get the waterworks going. Hilarious. Second of all, I still think this guy was doing something. I still feel Garrel. I want to see his messages. I want to see his WhatsApp. I want to see his internet history. I just feel like the way he went in on her, the way he reacted, this man was doing worse. Because sometimes I feel like guilt eats you and you react poorly to people like you're a whore and a cheater and I can't believe you did this to me. They were good morning texts. I know it's hurtful, but it's a good morning text. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I know it's devastating. It's a good morning text. Do you know what I'm saying? He shared his favorite bands with me. I know this is 2007 high school stuff, and I know you're seeing it as a boy crush. And also, take a deep breath. Okay? Take a deep breath. Like, your response is crazy. Okay? Oh, am I calling him Geralt again? Gerhardt. Sorry. I keep calling him the Witcher name. Geralt. Gerhardt. My bad.
Communicating with the rest of the group and during our business meetings. And so I knew that WhatsApp, since even though it's primarily an app on your phone, there's a web interface. You can log into WhatsApp on your computer through the browser as well. and it'll basically just duplicate everything that's on your account.
So then what did you do the next day?
So I took her phone upstairs to my computer, which is in the hallway upstairs, and I logged into her WhatsApp on my computer.
So you could.
I'll tell you a story about an abuser once. So I have somebody in my family who's an abuser, and they're married, and it's really devastating, and I don't give a fuck how they feel about it, okay? And I was really concerned for the wife. Like, I'm still to this day deeply concerned for this woman. And I am devastated that she will probably be trapped in this marriage for the rest of her life. And she is college educated and very smart, but he has gotten so deeply into her psychology that she is convinced, like, nobody cares about him. I'm the only one who understands him. Everybody, you know, I'm willing to, like, she's been alienated from her family, from his family. Like, she, like, is an incredibly abusive situation, okay? And years ago, when I realized she was being alienated, I was like, oh, fuck, he's alienating her. I texted her secretly. I was like, hey, girl, if you ever need me, please let me know. Like, I'm deeply concerned about you. I'm telling you as a person who's known this man his whole life, my whole life, like, I love you, and you deserve so much better than this, and I'm just so deeply concerned. Can you please let me know if you're okay? All of a sudden, he contacts me. He goes, why are you contacting her? I was like, why do you even know I contacted her? He goes, first of all, I have access to all her phone records. I can see all her text messages. I'm logged in on the computer. And not only that, she doesn't take her phone to work because she doesn't need a phone at work. And I was like, she's literally a professional. She has a professional big girl job. And he goes, yeah, well, she doesn't need her phone. So she says she keeps it at home with me. So now I know my family's turning on me. My family's going behind my back. And my family's trying to keep my wife away from me. And I was like, you're keeping your wife away from her family. Like, her sisters are concerned about her. You keep hiding invitations. Like, your wife literally thinks no one wants her at baby showers when we've all been inviting her to events. Like, it's you. Like, you're keeping your wife trapped. We got police involved. We had authorities involved. And every time they came to the house, he acted perfect. Like, there was no problem. Anyways, it eventually got outed that he was having an affair. An emotional affair, telling him he's going to leave his wife for a 17-year-old. Okay, he was orchestrating sleepovers. He targeted a child. He has text messages saying, I was going to leave my wife with you. I was going to be with you. Fucked up, like, just so many people's lives. And because my family is conservative, it was the teenager that seduced him. It was porn. It was sex addiction. It was ADHD. So let me tell you this. If you are logging into people's WhatsApp, if you are reading their private text messages, if you are in this like kind of situation, you are the bad guy. There is no justification. I would never do that to my partner, even if my partner was cheating on me. And I have been cheated on. I never went through my partner's phone. I never did that. Because again, we don't need to do this. You already know. If you already think she's cheating, what do you need to go through her phone for? You just said, what do you need to log onto her app and have it on the computer for? You know what I'm saying? So this is why I say with peace and love, I haven't talked to my parents since November because they invited this person to the get together. And I said, why is this person in your house when we haven't spoken to them since 2019? And they're like, well, they fixed their marriage. It's fine. Why are you even getting involved? My mom goes, I don't even know why you're getting involved. Their marriage is fine. Their marriage is not fine. Their marriage is an illusion of abuse, perfectly orchestrated narcissistic abuse, in which all of you are in a room pretending like this shit didn't happen. And they're like, you're too attached, Brittany. Did you ever think that maybe you just get involved in people's marriages? And I was like, okay. That's why I say, girl, in a healthy marriage, absolutely not. And the fact that we can't even talk about it as a family, this is him. My brother is very charming. My brother is very charismatic. People love my brother, okay? But I'm telling you right now, these are bad people. These are very bad people. And I am absolutely expecting to get a call one day. And I know that sounds like way dramatic, and maybe people are like, you shouldn't be talking about this. But I'm telling you right now, as God is my witness, I would not be shocked if I got a call one day. Because men who trap women, men who manipulate women, men who take women's phones, men who won't even have the conversation, men who do this to children and then have the audacity to be like, God saved me. Oh, we worked on our marriage. Oh, Brittany's the problem. Absolutely not. Every child that comes to me in this family will always be believed. Every child who comes to me, especially with evidence, will be believed. Okay? Like, even with the evidence, it wasn't enough. So with peace and love, okay? Him sitting here in court, all casual, being like, oh yeah, I logged into her WhatsApp on my computer. Not gonna save you here, buddy. Not gonna save you here.
Watch.
In the hallway upstairs, and I logged into her WhatsApp on my computer.
So you could watch her.
So I could
activity.
see. Yeah.
So I could stalk her. So I could stalk her. Say it. So I could stalk my wife. So I could stalk my wife. That's what you did. You stalked your wife.
You mentioned being devastated. I mean, prior to this, did you have any, aside from we talked about the red flags, but marriage-wise, I mean, everything seemed okay?
Everything seemed fabulous. We were we were very happy together. No red flags in terms of the marriage itself.
Okay. So now, you want to learn more. You went to what do you call it, like detective mode, kind of?
Yeah.
Okay. So now you logged on and you're able to watch her. And did you do so the next day?
Yes. Excuse me. Yes.
Tell the jury what you saw the next day?
So the next day, it was basically the same type of thing that they were doing on Sunday and Monday. So they start off by saying good morning, and then just wasn't communication the entire day. But this day, she started deleting messages, and so one of the first things that she did is she deleted all of the messages from Sunday and Monday.
Okay. So when you went, make sure you put the mic a little closer. So when you saw the messages the night before.
Yes.
And now you're looking at it on the computer next day, and those messages you saw the night before are deleted?
Yes.
Okay. And then what?
And then I saw them communicate kind of in real time, because I could see it pop up on my screen too. And as soon as the conversation proceeded, kind of passed, she would kind of keep deleting the previous messages. So she was like, not deleting them in real time, but like throughout the day, she was deleting the previous messages.
And the content of the communications and what was being deleted, again, was it concerning?
Yeah, I mean, it was the same type of conversation that she was having with him on the previous 2 days, which is not a conversation you have with a coworker. This is a conversation you have with your spouse. I mean, this is
like what details? Like what details? Give me the details. Because if it's like the previous conversations, then it was nothing. Give me the details.
And after watching that all day long.
See how they just so you saw the deleted messages? What were they? She was like, oh my God, I love that band too. What were the messages?
What did you conclude?
They're sharing like my Goodreads list. Chad says they were sharing Spotify links. It was like my Goodreads. She's literally like top 10 anime lists. My anime list.
I mean, in terms of what was going on. Did you believe?
I mean, she was having an affair.
Okay. Let me ask you this. While that was, did you, because she was deleting these things, did you try to save some of the messages?
Yeah, so the first thing I did, actually, the night that I unlocked her phone, because on WhatsApp you can also export the thread, basically, and save the thread, and so I exported the thread to my phone, so I had copies of what was on there when I first discovered it. And then the next day on my computer, the only thing I could do on the web interface is take screenshots of the...
And you took some?
Yeah.
All right. So now you are faced with, this. You got this trip in a day or two. Do you confront Ariel right away?
Not right away. So the way that this was happening was that our trip to San Luis Obispo, there's no direct flights from Maui to San Luis Obispo, and so we coordinated that the layovers were going to be in Phoenix, which is where Brian Jana lives. And
why did we bypass this so quickly? You know what I'm saying? Like, why did we... Yeah, Chad says, does he think this is normal? Yeah, why did we just ignore the fact that he's stalking his wife so casually? Like, I know people think, like, you guys have to understand, like, just because someone's cheating on you doesn't mean you have the right to be crazy. Like, you know what I mean? You can't stalk people because they cheated on you. You can't, like, violate people's consent because they cheated on you. You can't, like, then demand sex out of people because they cheat on you. You can't murder someone because they cheat on you. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just, like, stalk someone's text messages because, you know what I mean? What a violation. Do you ever, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are we talking about?
Ari was taking a red eye on Tuesday night. And so on Tuesday, when I was first discovering and watching this kind of in person for the first time,
let me stop you there, so just to help the jury. So Monday night is when you first found the WhatsApp chain, right?
Right. So Monday overnight.
Tuesday
morning, I wake up and I started looking at them interacting
throughout the day.
During the day.
And then Ariel's supposed to leave that night.
And so she's supposed to leave that night.
Do you confront her before she leaves?
I do not.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so she leaves. Who do you first reach out to talk to him about this?
Yeah, so on Wednesday, on Wednesday night, I'm supposed to leave to fly to Phoenix to meet Bryant and then go to San Luis Obispo.
Okay.
And Wednesday, like in the middle of the day, I call him and talk to him.
Okay. And why did you call?
FaceTime.
Why did you call Brian? Talk to him about it.
Few different reasons. One was that we were, about to go on this trip with them, and I wasn't able to. Like, I knew I was going to have to confront her as soon as I got to San Luis Obispo.
So before talking to you called the person. Is this your most trusted friend? Is there another trusted friend you could have called? Because look, when I found out I was being cheated on, I called my sister right away. Yeah, I called my sister. But I knew I was being cheated on for a fact, and it was physical, and it was a month-long affair, and they were having sex, and it was being held behind my back, and every time I asked, like, hey, are you okay? They're like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, I like, do you know what I'm saying? Which is very different from, I read some text messages about their favorite bands and I started to get uncomfortable. Like, this isn't even a cheating yet. You want to talk to your partner. This is where you would intervene. If you have this most marriage, like perfect marriage, and you're communicating and everything is healthy, then in a healthy marriage, you should be able to talk about it. Baby, I love you. And I don't know what's going on, but I'm kind of uncomfortable with these text messages. It does feel like, though they're basically innocent, there feels like there's an underlining romance to them, and I'm not sure if I'm reading into it, but like, can you talk to me about them? And then she can feel like, yeah, to be honest, like nothing's happened really, but I think I have a crush, and I think I'm engaging and playing with fire in a way that is honestly like very inappropriate, and I've been feeling neglected, and I started just to feel really, I don't know, like seen by someone for the first time. And I'm sorry I didn't come talk to you about it, but I'm so glad you're talking to me about it now. Also, how the fuck did you find out about this? You go through my phone? Like, also, how'd you go through blah, 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 blah? It's like, he's going to have to admit, like, oh, I looked through your phone, though. You know what I mean? He didn't even, you know what I'm saying? He's like, oh, wait a second. So, yeah, but, like, there's a way, and he's painting it as, like, this perfect marriage that was always perfect. I would like to hear how she felt about the marriage. I would like to hear how the kids observe the marriage. Because I will just tell you this, like, perfect marriage, my ass.
So now it's Wednesday, and I'm convinced of, I'm seeing what they're doing, especially what she was sharing with them on Wednesday. So on Wednesday, she was spending all day in San Luis Obispo with Gianna, and she's basically keeping him up to. I mean, first thing is, like, as soon as she lands in Phoenix in the morning, she's like, just landed.
I do that with all my friends and family. I am one of those girls that if I'm ever traveling, I almost always send update messages to all my besties. Girl, I send weather updates to my friends almost on a daily basis sometimes, depending on who it is. I'm always like, snowy here, summer here, windy here. Like, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, you keep saying these are conversations only between you and your spouse, but we read those text messages. Those are conversations between friends. So I'm going to need to know what part of it was the affair.
I have an hour and a half. If you're free, we can chat. Can't wait to talk to you.
Is she texting you, keeping you up to date?
Like, I'm getting, I also got a just landed text, but like nothing else,
Okay.
and but she's like, reaching out.
So you're feeling sad and neglected because you understand your wife. But is that normal for Ariel? Oh, next question. Because I'll tell you this, I share more with my friends than I would my spouse because we live together. But also, we text people differently. I don't text my spouse the same way I text my friends. I would probably share more with my friends than even my spouse, depending on the situation. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, is this that weird, though? I want to see the messages between Gigi, her best friend, is that her name, and Gerhardt. What are the differences? Because I bet she sends more text messages to her girlfriend than to him. But he won't be jealous of that, will he? Because it's a woman. Do you know what I'm saying? Because it's a woman. Because he doesn't see a threat there. What if Ariel's bisexual? She can't send text messages to her girls now? This is why I say the straights are suffering.
Him and on WhatsApp, like, you can see when a message has been read, and so as soon as she saw that he read her just landed text, she called him. Like, she didn't wait for him to respond and stuff. And like, I'm not getting a call. I'm not getting any of this stuff. And then during the day, she's sending him pictures of the places that they're of her and Gianna doing stuff
So you're seeing this.
So I'm seeing this, and that's at that point I'm just like, I can't go to San Luis Obispo and not confront her about this right away. Like,
And going back to Bryant, right? So I know
Yeah.
did you guys have like fun activities planned? It was supposed to be a fun couple
Yeah,
trip?
so I mean, it was supposed to be a couple's trip, right? And it was Gianna's birthday, and actually, Ari planned it because she used to work for, well, one of the power plants that she, that was her responsibility for refueling is just outside of San Luis Obispo. So she used to travel to San Luis Obispo all the time for work, and
So were you
planned like
were you
a bunch of fun
reaching out to
activities.
Brian? And you said there's several reasons. Was one of it to kind of let him know like, hey, this might not be the fun trip we had
Yeah.
planned?
So the first reason was like, hey, like this is, I'm just giving you a heads up. Like I'm gonna confront Ari with basically an affair.
Was there other reasons why you wanted?
And then the other reason was that, the other reason why he's my best friend and I wanted some advice, but I specifically wanted advice from him because they had just gone through infidelity in their relationship like 6 months earlier.
Brian and Gianna.
Brian and Gianna. And so
they were dealing with that.
yeah, so he had been dealing with this, and I was looking for advice and just needed a
And
friend.
just to be
talk
clear for the jury, in that situation though, was it reversed?
It was, yeah.
was
Brian had like a one-night stand, and Gianna found out about it. And
So they had been dealing
kicked
with
him out of the
that
house
after
and
that.
stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you talked.
Cheaters all around, baby. It's interesting though that I wouldn't call that an affair. I would say he cheated. An affair to me is like something that's like long and layered and has been going on for more than a night, like in that it's kind of like secret and behind the backs of people. And, an affair feels different to me, but whatever. He cheated his friend, which is bullshit. That's gross. And you guys need to work that out in your marriage. And honestly, if you want to stay, you want to stay. But, bullshit, right? Like bullshit. Ariel didn't do any of those things. Just a reminder, she didn't do any of that. She didn't sleep with him. She didn't kiss him. She didn't send him sex messages. As far as we know, nothing happened except these messages, which we've read and are hardly anything.
Talk to Brian.
Yes.
Okay. Do you fly up on the trip?
Yes.
When you get there, do you confront Ariel right away?
Almost right away. I mean, like right when we get there, they already have dinner reservations and stuff like that waiting for us. And so we go to dinner, and right after dinner, when we go back to the hotel, is when I confront her.
Did you talk to Gianna before you confronted Ariel?
Very briefly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And told her what you had found.
I basically just gave, I told her briefly what I found, and then left to go talk to Ari and left.
I wonder how the friends reacted. I wonder if the friends were like, oh, how do you know it's an affair? Because that's what I would ask. If somebody came to me and said like, so-and-so is cheating, I'd be like, oh my God, how do you know? They'd be like, oh, I read the text messages. I was like, oh my God, what did they say? Did they admit to the cheating? Like genuinely, if I read those messages, I would be like, look, I'm heartbroken. There is some violation here. I hesitate to call it cheating, but I would just say like, you guys need to talk. Because before anything happens, you guys should talk. It kind of feels like it was the before stages of maybe cheating, right? Like it didn't even happen yet, but I can see why it might have happened. But like if I caught, okay, and this is really difficult because again, you know how I don't experience crushes because I don't open myself up to the vulnerabilities. It doesn't mean that if I was talking to somebody and I had the realization of like, oh, did we just cross a boundary? I would tell my partner, I'd be like, hey, I think we crossed a boundary the other day. It hasn't happened yet, but let's say if it did. I'd be like, oh my God, like I think I was talking to this girl and I think we might have flirted a little bit, like in a real way. Like it started to feel like, oh, this wasn't just friend flirting. This was like, maybe leave your boyfriend for me or leave your girlfriend. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, I gotta put a stop to that because that wasn't what I intended, right? It's different than, you meet a friend, you're vibing, like it's so weird being young too. Because are they young? How old are they? Because like, have you ever met a person? You're like, oh my God, I'm like in love with them. Or like our friendship is so good. Like we're going on a date, like date days with your friends. I feel so lucky being in a marriage where we have all gendered friends. I mean, there's a gender fluidity and a queerness to our relationship. So all of our friends are all genders. Ariel's my age. Oh my God, we're the same age. Girl, we're the same age. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know how these people feel so much more like an adult to me? Don't they feel so old? Oh, he's 48. You're right. He's 10 years older than her. Does she feel like she's young? She should get on Twitch. She should be a streamer. She should come be on YouTube. Anyways, that's a joke. I'm making jokes. Sorry. Respect. So because my marriage is all genders, we have all kinds of friends. I mean, our life is so different. Like, you know how I have nude art on my walls and my brother calls it porn? We have artist friends. We have a mutual artist friend that literally makes like, she helped me do design work. She does really amazing work. She also is dabbling in like adult like kind of like erotic paintings. And I remember I walked into I walked into my partner's room and he was like, oh, so-and-so just sent me a DM of the new work. You want to see it? I'm like, yeah. And I looked at it and I was like, oh, that's pretty. And like, it was a naked girl, right? Like it's art, right? And I'm looking at it and I'm like, man, in another person's relationship, this would have been like a deal breaker. But in our relationship, it's just like we have artist friends, we have queer friends, we have gender fluid friends, we have being naked is just so a part of the life we live that, you know, you can imagine next to our life, these text messages are like, I don't know what to do with this. You know what I mean? Like, what am I supposed to do with these text messages about do you listen to jazz? Oh my God, do you listen to jazz? Is now cheating? You know what I mean? I get it, but like, I don't get it. Okay? There's just a line in the sand, but that's why I say, talk to your partners, girls. Talk to your partner. Okay? If you genuinely want to make this, you know, if you want to make a space where you guys can have informed consent, you have to make the space. And I don't know how you can give informed consent if you're also admitting to like opening an app on your desktop and looking at her private messages and basically stalking and going behind her back. You know what I'm saying? Like, what did she do that warranted the justification for you to react that way? What did she do? And that doesn't, I don't even believe in that narrative. That's why I say you have to do the right thing even if nobody else is doing it. Oh my God, thank you. Can we please, why do I say your values are the only thing that matter? Your morals, your ethics. Because people will do bad things. That doesn't mean you get to do bad things. He is trying to make it sound like because she did a bad thing, I can do a bad thing. No, that's not how the world works. You don't get to do a bad thing because she did a bad thing. And that's still up for debate. Okay? So again, what in his worldview justified going into her phone, stealing her text messages, basically stalking her, and all of the things that followed, including trying to murder her? What in his value system and his morals justified that response?
Brian, to explain to her more.
So, where do you confront Ari? Were you in the hotel room?
In the hotel room.
You confront her with it. Tell the jury how that went and what Ariel's initial reaction was.
Yeah, I confront her with it, and she's immediately remorseful. And
tell us what you told her, because according to her testimony, you called her, what was it, a whore? He called her names, misogynistic names. Tell us what you called her for answering a text message about whether or not she liked jazz music.
Doesn't deny anything, admits to it, and is crying, and
Let me ask you this. You say admits to it, and you know when Ms. Coney testified, she kept using the term, you guys use the term emotional affair, but in that time period, what did she admit to? Having a...
She admitted having an affair. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
With Jeff Miller.
Yeah, she admitted this was completely inappropriate relationship.
Okay.
Did she say inappropriate relationship, which I agree it could have been, or did she say affair? Two different things, very important. I'm being inappropriate is the step before the affair. You're right, I'm being inappropriate. I'm overstepping boundaries. Let's pause and talk. Words matter.
And we called it an affair from the start.
And you mentioned she was remorseful and crying.
So they disagree on this. She said she didn't call it an affair. They agreed to call it an affair because that's what he wanted to call it. So he's saying, no, she called it an affair. So now this is the first time where they deviate from the story significantly.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Now, here we are now in San Luis Obispo. This is going on. What was your emotional state like at the time? In other words, what were you thinking needed to happen? And like, you know, you guys were going to try to work this out or not, or while you're on the trip?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was tough. I mean, a lot of emotions for sure, but Brian and John were really helpful, and we were away from the kids and away from work and away from everything else, so we can kind of just focus on this.
Okay.
And
you guys reached some kind of conclusion as to whether or not you guys were going to break up or what?
Oh, yeah. So we both wanted to work on it. We both, well, she basically said, like, I'm so sorry, I can't believe I did this, and I'll do anything it takes to heal our marriage.
Okay.
And you know, you and our kids are more important than anything to me, and you know, I'll do whatever it takes. And we start talking to Brian and Jana, and they kind of help us talk about some things, and we figure out, you know, what the next steps are going to be.
Now, during the trip in San Luis Obispo, did the topic of her possibly moving out come up?
Yes. That was one of the big conversations we had.
And did you guys settle in on, okay, she's not going to move out just right now, we're going to try?
Yeah, so I preferred for her to move out.
Do you mean like break up?
No, we were both committed to working on the marriage, but and this is what Bryant and Jana did too. So Bryant ended up living in a hotel for like 3 months, and it helped them just focus on the affair. And
Oh my God, my homie. He had sex with another person. Your wife sent music links or received music links from a coworker. Why is the reaction to this so severe? Why are we moving out of the house? Why are we moving and disrupting the kids' lives over casual text messages? Do you know what I'm saying? What are we doing? Hello? Why are we even if you go to a therapist and you talk about infidelity, I just don't understand, like, over what? Why are you know what I'm saying? Like, why are you doing this? And Chad said, yeah, he just wanted to punish her. I think so too. You just wanted to punish her. Nothing even happened yet.
Healing from the affair, and then they kind of moved back and kind of start working on everything else, and I felt that was an ideal solution.
Did she want to do that?
Well, both of us, we decided together not to do that, and because we had the two big complicating issues for us was one, our two little boys. So we at the time they were like 1.5 and 4.
Oh my God.
So at this time when she was having this.
So I just want to point out a bunch of things as well. And this is why I say women need a village especially. So she's working full time. She just had a baby. Okay. There's a lot of stress happening. I want to know if he was supportive. I want to know if she was being cared for. I want to know if she even had time to heal. Like, there are so many things that were going wrong before this that didn't come out of nowhere. He's trying to paint her as this like malicious, vindictive person when she was really just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you talking about? Okay.
Relationship with Mr. Miller. How old were the boys?
1.5 and 4.
Okay. And you're saying, obviously, if she moved out, it would have been traumatic on them.
Yeah, so we didn't want.
Okay. So you guys, it's okay.
Is he
You guys
crying?
decide to-
Is he, oh, it's okay. It's okay. You can cry. It's okay. I'm not going to be nice to this man. For the record, everyone who's like, you're not being fair, and you're not, like, I saw some messages that were like, you should listen to the evidence before you come to conclusions. We're not here for that kind of watch. If you want to watch somebody react where they're patient and hear all the facts, you can go watch somebody else here. Here, we are absolutely believing the two witnesses and the woman who has a scar on her head for being hit in the head with a rock. That's all we're believing, okay, girls?
not do that then.
Yeah, we didn't want them harmed.
Okay. So let me ask you this: in order for her to not move out, to avoid that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, chat. Chat said, did Ariel cry, recounting how she almost got murdered? This woman didn't even give herself a chance to feel her own feelings because she knew the court would call it manipulative and call it evil. They did this to Amber Heard, where if Amber showed any sort of emotion, they were like, oh, she's manipulating the court. She's a liar, right? And I'm saying you are sniffling because a woman answered whether or not she listened to jazz. Like, you are literally crying over the fact that your wife got a VPN link from a man she worked with. Like, you are crying over your reaction is not proportional. It's fucking insane. It's actually fucking insane how much you are blowing this out of proportion. Okay? It is actually insane. You are crazy.
Sorry. May I approach Chad?
Thank you.
Crazy, non-derogatory, non-ableist. You are evil, philosophically evil. Oh, he needed a tissue box? Did he need a tissue box? I'm screaming.
Excuse me 1 second.
Oh, brother.
You want water?
Yes, please.
Oh my
Mention
God.
the kids. Was there
You need your mom to come burp you since apparently she's there to defend you today? Would you like your mom to come change your nappy too?
Did Ari have other concerns about her moving out?
Yeah, and the other concern, and again, this was a joint decision, is that we wanted to protect her reputation with family and friends, and so Bryant was able to move out, and really nobody else knew. It was just Ari and I actually that knew, and that was it.
So in other words, if Ari moved out on Maui, you talked about you guys had formed a pretty good, close group of friends. Her parents.
We did, and everybody lived right there, and it's a small community, and I mean, people were going to know that she moved out and would ask why. And
so that was part of the joint decision.
Yes.
So you guys are up there, San Luis Obispo, decide that we're going to try. It's not going to move out. What about where there's some talk about if we're going to do that, at least initially, was there some talk about what was needed to happen as it related to Jeff Miller and her job?
Yes.
What was that? Tell the jury about that.
Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Chad. His 19-year-old son, Chad says, mind you, his son didn't do all of this testifying. His dad called saying he tried to kill his stepmom. Literally, he was going to off himself. His 19-year-old son got on that stand and held the responsibility and the weight on his shoulders of facing his father, who tried to murder his stepmother and then tried to pull his son into it. A 19-year-old son came with more dignity and respect and the way that he conveyed that story than this grown man is, almost 50 years old. What a piece of fucking literal chutta.
Yeah, so I mean, she obviously needed to terminate the affair immediately, but also to terminate all contact with Jeff Miller, and that would involve her quitting her job and getting a new job.
Initially, what did she say? I mean, is that something she was agreeable to initially?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And so we decided that was the plan. And she said she just needed a little bit of time, and so she didn't want to quit her job right away, but that she would limit contact with him.
Don't you love that he's like, you need to quit your job and take away your means of independence? Bullshit. The way he tried to manipulate that, you need to get away from this coworker. They didn't even live in the same state, stupid. She didn't live in the same state as this guy, guys. It was remote. They saw each other for work events. Sure, you can keep it together. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you really think her being in the room with him is enough, like, then you guys can get divorced or something. You can't ask a woman in a very serious position in a very serious job to just quit her job. That's what I'm saying. Like, this isn't a fucking job at Ralph's, no offense. This is a job at it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you need to pause before you tell a woman who went and got an education and worked this hard to get into an industry to just, quote, quit her job.
And so she actually sent him an email through work, like a work email, and said,
No, Chet says, I thought they were in an office every day together. No, she worked from home. They worked from home. They saw each other on occasion for work events. Like when they flew to South Africa, I think he said. They were not in the office every day together. That's what I'm saying. This is blown out of proportion.
Basically, hi Jeff, from this point on, all of our communication needs to be in email only. If we do meet, because they would have virtual meetings all the time, if we do meet, it would have to be with one other person present. And she did this without talking to me, but showed it to me afterwards. Said, hey, this is what I did. Is that okay? I said, that's fine.
So the plan was that she was going to quit her job and maybe find a new job, but in the meanwhile,
for sure she was going to quit her job and find a new job.
Okay.
But in the meanwhile,
there was going to be some boundaries related to her interactions with Miller.
Yes.
Okay. Was she supposed to go on another work trip with Jeff Miller soon after the San Luis Obispo trip?
Yes.
To where and when?
So the San Luis Obispo trip ended on Sunday, and on Sunday I was going to fly back to Maui to take care of the kids, and she was flying to Seattle, and she had a week-long business trip in Seattle starting right after this
right
trip.
after? Mm-hmm. She was going to go straight? And Mr. Miller was supposed to be there?
Yes.
Did you later learn anything about the hotel situation related to that?
Not even later. It was. I mean, so while we were in San Luis Obispo and while we're still talking about all these things, I told her basically, I'm not okay with you going to Seattle. And she said, no, I totally understand. And she said, I'm going to cancel that trip. And she admitted that she had changed her hotel from the hotel that she was supposed to stay in with her primary team that she works with at TerraPower to the hotel that Jeff Miller was in, and they already had dinner plans for Sunday night.
Okay.
When she did this testimony, she made it clear that the hotel change happened and other coworkers also did it. And she was in the building with other coworkers as well. So he's painting the story like her and Jeff have a secret getaway that's just theirs. But from her story, he's like, no, there were other coworkers. I did not do it to be closer to Jeff. Like, there were other coworkers, right? So I wonder if they will call him to the stand, Jeff and other coworkers, because you know what I'm saying? It's his word against hers at this point.
And then she canceled that trip.
She canceled all of that. So she told work she had a family emergency and couldn't go. And so we flew back together to Maui on Sunday.
You get back to Maui on Sunday, and there was some kind of initial conversations about what needed to happen with her job and whatnot. When you get back to Maui, are you still kind of just trying to figure out how to deal with this whole situation?
Yes.
Did you tell anyone other than Gianna and Brian?
No.
Okay. And was that for the reasons you talked about earlier about Ariel's reputation?
Yes.
I'm sorry, what?
Ariel's reputation.
Yes.
Ariel's reputation?
No.
And was that for the reasons you talked about earlier about Ariel's reputation?
Yes.
But you did. We saw the email that you sent at some point to Mr. Miller's wife, right?
Oh, yeah. And I did that in San Luis Obispo.
Yeah, and that was in San Luis Obispo. Okay.
Yeah, that's the day that I found out.
Yeah. And
Well, I
why'd
mean,
you-
that's not true. That's the day that I confronted her
Okay.
about it.
And why'd you do that?
I just felt that if I was in her shoes, I would want to know.
Okay. Okay. So now,
He's trying to play this like, oh, I'm just being considerate. And if I was in her shoes, I would want to know. If you were in her shoes, we wouldn't be in this situation. Like, again, he is trying to play like he's normal and casual. Oh, I really hope. Oh my God. They really call him out on this bullshit.
you get back to Maui, and to your knowledge, immediately after was as far as you knew, Ariel limiting contact with Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Did she ever start to look for a new job?
Yes, right when we got to Maui, she was updating her CV and her LinkedIn profile and looking for jobs.
All right. At some point, did you start listening to some audiobooks and trying to get some advice about how to heal from this?
Yes.
And what did you learn from those books about what, is necessary if you guys were going to even have a chance at this?
Yeah. I listened to several books and talked to Bryant a lot, and there's a lot of different things that the books recommend, but the five main things are basically, the first is always to terminate the affair, obviously, and terminate all contact with the other cheating spouse. Okay. And all the books talk about, if this is something at your workplace, you need to, quit your job or move departments or something like that, because it's something that's commonly happens between coworkers.
For full-blown affairs. I would agree with this if this was a full-blown affair. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's the only issue I have with all of this. Like, nothing happened yet. Nothing, I think because I also come from a poly background, we're human beings. We're gonna like other people if you give each other the opportunity, and things get again, it basically got fuzzy at most. Fuzzy, you can pivot. You can come back from fuzzy. You can't come back from a full affair necessarily. So they're reacting like she had this full affair. They were sleeping together. It was at work. It was crazy. None of this happened. So the reaction just doesn't make sense.
And then the second thing is that, the cheating spouse needs to put in the work to understand all of the damage that they've caused to the relationship, and because it's not immediately apparent, just how deep the trust issues are going to impact things, and potentially putting the family dynamics and the kids at risk and things like that, and all the different ways that you hurt your spouse. Okay. And so that was the second thing. The third thing is,
was there anything about privacy?
Yeah. So one of the,
just because you read it in a book doesn't mean it's good. You should have gone to a therapist. Did you actually go to did your therapist recommend you do all this? Because this is a lot. I want to know which therapist they went to that said, oh yeah, this is all a good idea. I feel like there's no way. Okay. Dr. Kirkonda he does psychology in Seattle, and he helps couples going through affairs. And I feel like he would see, he would validate everyone's pain, but he'd also be like, you need to chill. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like he would be like, you're doing a lot. You know what I mean? A lot has happened. Because you want to validate. If he had just said, hey, I started to feel really suspicious of you, and I looked through your phone, and I did see messages between you and Jeff, and it made me really uncomfortable, and I do feel like you're cheating on me, and I just don't understand how we got here and what happened, and I love you, and I think we really got to talk about it. Instead, he hacked into her phone, uploaded onto his computer, stalked her for multiple times, insert time here. He told their friends, then confronted her on a vacation. He blindsided her and then coerced sex out of her. He you know what I'm saying? This does not sound to me like somebody who's trying to fix his marriage. It sounds to me like somebody who's controlling, demanding, and punishing his wife for talking to someone in a way he deemed inappropriate.
Main things is actively rebuilding trust, and that means that you're going to have to proactively give up privacy and also tolerate some invasion of privacy. Meaning basically you need to tolerate if your partner is saying hey, can I see your phone for a sec and see who you're talking to, or hey, I can I see who you're emailing, so
Not get defensive.
and not get defensive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, And did you discuss those things with Ariel?
Yes.
Okay, and what was she doing these things?
In the beginning, and then very inconsistently the rest of the month.
Very well.
Very inconsistently the rest of the month.
So she was kind of initially willing to do some of these things, but then seemed to become unwilling?
Yeah, so basically, it seemed like her whole attitude changed really within a few days of us getting back to Maui.
Can you tell us about that?
She started minimizing the affair and trying to say that it wasn't like a big deal.
Because you over exaggerated the affair. He's gaslighting. He's driving me crazy. If I was in this relationship with him, I'd feel manipulated because you're blowing it out of proportion. She's downplaying it because you're overplaying it. You are literally exaggerating the affair. So she probably just wants it to make sense. You need to make sense of what actually happened.
And she started blaming me for the affair and just saying like, well, you caused some of these things, and some of the,
Okay.
telling me some of the things that I was doing that potentially contributed to her doing.
Was she open to your questions about, hey, let me see your phone, or who are you calling?
Like on and off, she would get defensive and get irritated at me, basically asking us.
So when she was kind of now backing off of some of the things you guys initially agreed to, did that cause you to kind of go into detective mode again and look into, try to obtain more information about the extent of her relationship?
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
what new information, if any, did you learn at that point?
I was trying to talk to her about the affair, just trying to get more details, because we didn't talk about it in detail in San Luis Obispo. We were just kind of talking about big picture. Are we going to stay together?
Okay.
Are we going to move out?
But she admitted
all
to
these
it, though,
things.
right?
Yeah, she admitted to it. And then later, a few weeks later, I was looking, and the two main things that I found out. Let me just back up. So I was trying to ask her more questions about the affair, and she wouldn't basically engage.
Okay.
And
I feel like he's going to tell us like they slept together and had a baby and then they had an abortion. Like, what are you about to tell us?
answer questions. And so everything that I found out is I basically found out on my own. And I found out that...
How'd you find out on your own? What did you do to find out the information? You break some laws by any chance?
When they were in South Africa, on our phone bill, actually, there's records of them texting just through regular text, like up through past like 10 o'clock on that night that she never got back to me.
Okay.
And then again, like a 1 minute phone call at 5:30 the next morning, local time. And I was like, that seems odd. And then in that...
Well, the phone calls that are like, hey, bro, can you get a taxi downstairs? We got to get going. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know what it is. I need to know what it is.
Combined with in the work thread that they had on WhatsApp, not the personal one, the work one, the next morning, they're talking about work stuff, but then they're also talking about how they can barely stay awake and they're both so tired and
That made
things.
you wonder.
Yeah, I just...
Okay, what else
that
did
made
you
me,
learn? What else do you think you
concern.
learned?
And then the other thing was just the sheer scope of the number of deleted messages, because I saw that WhatsApp has a statistics area where you can go to for the app that shows you how many total messages have been sent or received since the last reset
So what did
of
you
the
see?
app, and she had deleted over 10,000 messages during that time.
Over what period of time?
Where's my phone? Is that a feature on WhatsApp? Is that true? I don't know if that's true. Tech girlies, is that true? Also, is it, what's the messages? You know what I mean?
I'm assuming during, So the thread was created on June 4th, and I'm not sure when. She said that the affair started after the South Africa trip, is what she admitted to me. So it was either over 3 months or 6 months.
Okay, you just like do some
But it's like,
rudimentary math
50 to 100, or like 60 to 120 messages a day.
During that time
if it's averaged throughout the whole day. And then 19 hours of phone and video calls, too.
Okay.
Just for the record, when my partner and I counted how many messages we did over the first 2 weeks of us dating, I think it was like 35,000 messages or something. Like, especially if you're messaging, hey, how are you? Are you good? How's the weather? Like, isn't that each message? Like, you know what I'm saying? Instead of sending one message that says, hey, good morning, how are you? You say, hey, good morning, how are you? Great. Like, if you're sending 17, do you know what I'm saying? Like, you can end up sending those many messages. I mean, I wonder how many messages my Discord has. You know what I mean? Like, we send messages so much towards each other. Do you know what I mean? I'm not sure this is enough for me. I know it sounds like a lot, but it doesn't sound like that much when you're a texter or a typer, right?
This is probably a dumb question, but did that make you feel better or worse about the situation?
You know, it made me feel worse, and I was just feeling worse about the whole situation overall because it takes some time to kind of process all the emotions involved with it and realize all the implications of this. Yeah.
Let me
So
ask you
I
this.
was getting worse definitely in December.
The new information that you discovered, did you discuss it with her or try to?
I tried.
And how did that go?
She really wouldn't engage about anything with the affair. She kept saying like, "Stop asking me questions. You know, it feels like you're asking me 21 questions." Like, things like that.
Well, because it can feel that way. So before he said something specific, which is like, I should be able to look for your phone without you getting defensive. I would say in a healthy relationship, I accept that you will get defensive and you're still going to hand me your phone. So I'm not going to control your emotions. It's okay to feel defensive. It's a pretty weird, violating feeling. Like, give me your phone. I need to check if you were a good boy today. God, that must feel so demoralizing. So I can understand why that would eat up at somebody who feels like they didn't even do anything. And now you're asking me like, let me look through your phone and see if you were a naughty girl today. And then, you start to realize like, hold up, I didn't even cheat, bro. Why are you coming at me like this? Like, I didn't even cheat on you. And it's like, but you admitted it. You admitted it was cheating. Well, I admitted it was inappropriate, but like, now you're making me feel like I really did something I didn't do. And this is why I say I'm so specific about context, because I don't want you to blow it out of proportion. Be accurate with what happened so we can accurately respond. He is so inappropriate with his responses. They do not match what happened. That's why he's a red flag.
After, this new information and now it kind of seems like it's regressing her attitude, did you ever ask her to move out in December again?
I did. Yeah.
Tell us how many times?
2 times.
And what happened?
So the first time was around the middle of the month, I just told her like, you're not doing what you said you were going to do, which is to take accountability for your actions and to basically do whatever it takes to heal the marriage.
Caveat: doing whatever it takes is actually something you say in emotion. It's not logical. If doing whatever it took to save your marriage would be killing the whole family, you wouldn't do it, right? Like, you can't say doing whatever it takes to save our marriage. Like, no, that's actually a very unhealthy perspective. What you should say is we should work together to see if this is a marriage worth keeping and whether or not this is time for us to move forward and move apart from one another. The truth is like, he is punishing her.
At that point in time, she became very apologetic that I'm so sorry. Like, you're right. Like,
Okay.
well, I'll do all those things. But again, that didn't last. And so
Was there a second time?
The second time was, and I remember the date because we had our first couples therapy session was scheduled for December 27th, and December 26th we got into a big argument about the same thing, and I ended up sleeping on the couch that night. And
Did you ask her to move out?
yeah, so I asked.
Okay, hold on. I just want to remind us, because I think sometimes we forget when watching these videos, right? Like, what are we dealing with? What are we learning from all of this? Like, what is this really about? Because now, you forget what things look like. You forget what the experience was like. You forget what people went through. Like, there's really so much of this that you can accidentally forget how serious it was. This is the body footage from when the nurses brought her down from the mountain. Oh, hold on. Is this not the right video? Oh, this is when he starts climbing the mountain. Hold on. Like, I just want you to remind yourselves of like how brutalized she was when she came down from the mountain. Hold on, let me see if I can get you. Okay, trigger warning, obviously. Sorry, I just put that on your screen with no trigger warning. So just a reminder that he did this to her because she was text messaging her coworker about music. He bludgeoned her in the head with a rock after attempting to push her off a cliff. So just a reminder, as you hear him talk and he's trying to be so fucking charming and he's trying to be like, oh, this woman cheated on me. This woman ripped apart our family. Like, this woman, you know what I mean? Oh, this woman did a horrible thing to our family.
But then
This is what he did to this woman for casual text messages with a coworker. Don't ever let people like this trick you into believing that they are the victim. What are you fucking talking about? I wouldn't care if she had a full-blown affair, my bro. I wouldn't even have cared. Like, yes, that would have been unethical and that would have been evil of her. She didn't even do that. You cannot turn around and on her birthday, take her for a hike in Hawaii and then attempt to kill her. You don't get to sit on some moral high ground. Okay?
after move out, and I ended up sleeping on the couch that night.
Okay. And again, okay, so
Yeah.
so when you would bring up moving out, then she would say, okay, I'm sorry, and then she would say she would recommit.
On the 26th, nothing was resolved that
Okay.
night. We just kind of got in a big argument, and I left and went to go sleep on the couch.
Now, were you having? I mean, again, probably a dumb question, but were you having a hard time with all of this?
Yes.
Did you? Could we pull up State's Exhibit S105 that's in evidence, please, Mr. Dirks? Did you turn to any sources to try and help yourself get some advice, get some healing? We talked about the audiobooks. There was this exhibit about Reddit as one
Oh yeah, great place to go.
after infidelity. What is that about? Were you looking at this? And tell the jury why, if you were.
Yeah, no, it's just a thread about people that are struggling with finding out their spouses had cheated, basically,
Okay.
and advice and also just kind of sharing stories so you feel like you're not alone.
Were you trying to get to a point where you could feel okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Was that what you're trying to do?
Yes.
Okay. Wow. In other words, you didn't rush straight to get out of here. I don't want to see you again. Kick you out of the house.
No, not at all.
Okay. But
No.
it was hard. Was it hard?
It was extremely hard.
What does that matter if he then tried to kill her with a rock?
And
When you were the audiobooks, Reddit, you were trying to get to a good place. Is that right?
yes.
Okay. We can take this.
Okay, and then I don't know if this is true, but multiple people in my chat are saying they cannot find, and I did a Google search, I could not find any proof that WhatsApp allows you to see deleted messages or how much you've deleted. So maybe a tech person needs to come in and see if that's true. But even if it was, 10,000 messages is not as much as it sounds. Sorry. I mean, it is in like a cutesy way, but it's not really. Like, are we all not text messaging like thousands of text messages every day, generally? Just in our day? Or not text messages, think WhatsApp, think Discord, think any messaging app, right? Even forums, sharing on forums.
By the way, there was this mention about the word Darvo the other day by
Yes.
Inuma.
Why are they bringing up the D word?
Well, what is? I mean, did it come up on the Reddit thread?
It did.
And what is that about?
And I don't remember the acronym, but basically it was, I came across it, and it's basically something that quite often happens. And so basically, the person that got caught having the affair, sometimes in the weeks after, they would try to turn the tide. So they would
Oh my God. Dakota, is that you, Dakota? Holy crap. No way. He is literally trying to turn it around. He is trying to say this woman cheated on me and pushed me, and she pushed me into trying to kill her, and this is actually Darvo. Sir? Absolutely not. What?
try to kind of take the spotlight off of them and move it to the other person and basically say like, wow, but but you did this and this,
Okay.
And so it's
I think he said
a fairly
something
common thing that
Yeah.
people try to do just to
Like,
deflect.
defensive.
Yeah.
I think it was like attack. I forget what, but basically, it's there was actually a term for it.
Yeah.
And from what you read, it's when the person who did the cheating tries to deflect and kind of turn it back on you.
Exactly.
Did that resonate with you when you learned about that
Yes.
term, Darvo?
Yes.
And why was that?
I hope Ariel is getting so much therapy and so much support and so much love. And I just hope this man never sleeps a full night for the rest of his life. I hope everything he eats from this day forward has a piece of hair in it. I hope he gets ingrown hairs and just every time he shaves, he cuts himself. Okay? Like, ooh, I cannot. This must be so frustrating. Okay? So he's saying this is the woman he's accusing of Darvo. This is the woman he's he's saying she made me do this to her. She made me go for a walk that day. She made me take her on her birthday up a cliff. She made me do this to her. When two witnesses came and found me bludgeoning my wife to almost death, she screamed, "Help me, call 911." Well, I ran away from the cops and I actually fought the cops off. When the cops came to help, girl, listen, I understand, but listen, patriarchy plays a big play in this, guys. Listen, it's not gendered bioessentialism, it's gendered patriarchy. The way women and the way men show up in the world is how we're taught to show up in the world, right? That's why it's difficult to know what the truth is, but generally there is a generalization that comes because we're products of our environment and how we're raised. So you cannot say, well, if a woman did this, a woman wouldn't do the same thing because they were trained differently. separate from the bioessentialism argument, which we're not making here, we are trained under patriarchy to react a certain way, right? So you have to understand, like, they're not the same thing. That's why with Taylor and Dakota, it was more likely Darvo, and it was more likely Taylor was innocent than Dakota. And in this situation, it's more likely Gerhardt is guilty and Ariel is a victim. And it's not just because they're men or women. It is because of the way the situation played out. It's because of the whole picture. It's because of everything leading up to the fact. It's not like, oh, women are always victims and men aren't. It's not that. It's the specific context of the specific situations and specifically what they are. Okay? It's same thing with Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. It's not like women are always like innocent, or it's not that. It's just statistically, men are perpetrators of violent crimes, and statistically, women are the victims of those crimes. And generally, you will not be the exception. It will be very rare, though it happens. And we have a case that's recently gone viral that's sort of similar. Where, like, yeah, like a lot of women, okay, some women will just be abusers of men. That is true. Like, some women have abused men. Absolutely. Generally speaking, that would be considered the exception in the way that the world is right now, right? And they usually, these women perpetrate crimes in the form of like patriarchal standard as well, forms of violence, right? Which is very interesting. So again, I would never on this channel say like women always victim, men always perpetrator. I would just say generally, the women will be victim and the man will be the perpetrator. It goes into what's her name's case has been being brought up a lot. I reviewed her case. I cried so much. I reviewed her case for members. Guys, help me with her name. Habibi, sweetheart, killed on a camping trip with her fucking useless boyfriend. Killed her, and then his parents went to go support him. What was his name? What was her name, please? Fuck him. What was her name? I cried so hard reading her story. Gabby Petito. Gabby Petito, same thing. Where Gabby, when the cops first showed up, Gabby goes, I hit him. She goes, yeah, he hit me. He goes, yeah, she hit me. And it was Darvo, okay? He literally was abusing her. She was going crazy. She literally was trying to get out of a crazy situation. He kills her in the end. He murders and buries her, pretends he's innocent, pretends he didn't do it. And then, you know what I'm saying? So remember that at the end of the day, when we're reviewing these cases, we already know what these men were doing. When given the power, these men killed the women they were with or tried to kill them, which is different than when the women were with them, right? Like the women are not trying to, like she's not trying to kill him, even though that's his defense. His defense is going to be she tried to kill me. Okay? So I just want you to remember this. Look at her one more time and may her image be burned into your skull so you remember every word that comes out of the slimy man's mouth. You remember what he did to her. You remember what he did to her because he's trying to make you forget. He's literally manipulating the jury to forget what he did to her. Let's take a break, girl. I need 5 minutes. Let's take a fucking break. Jesus Christ. We still have quite a ways to go. We still have like an hour to go. Let's take a fucking break. 5-minute break, girl. I need a snack. I'm so angry. I need a snack. I'm angry for her. I'm not emotionally irrational. I'm not angry out of control, girl. I am angry for her and all victims who have to sit here and show up in court and defend themselves where the men can get on this stand and be like, tee-hee, well, she was texting her coworker and it was super inappropriate, so I feel entitled to killing her. You are not entitled to this woman's body. Not for sex, and you're certainly not entitled to her life. But he sure felt fucking entitled.
Was all that was going on between them flirty texts?
Objection, same objection. Slightly different question. Overruled.
No.
We'll talk to you whenever there's a convenient break. We'll take our.
I think we're almost to a good place.
You just let me know.
Yeah, maybe 5-10 more minutes. Okay, if everyone's okay with that. Anybody okay? Okay. You know, we just talked about the audiobooks. Did she also admit in text messages to you that she had an affair?
Yes.
Okay. Now, at some point, do you guys start counseling?
Yes.
And what did you want counseling to be about?
About the affair.
Okay. And what did counseling turn into?
Mostly other things in our relationship.
Okay.
Also a little bit about the affair, but mostly other things in the relationship.
This might be a good time for a break.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a 15-minute recess. Ms. McCallum will come get you at 2:40. Leave your notebooks on the chair. All right.
Okay, they're going for a break. Okay, I'm going to forward it, obviously. So they're going to break. You can't hear anything. Okay, hold on. I don't want to skip anything. So
Presenting case number
We're back?
12, State of Hawaii versus Gerhard Koenig, 1 CPC 25.373. Dr. Gerhard Koenig is present in court on the stand. Is still under oath. All 4 counts of record are present. All jurors are back in the courtroom. Mr. Taki, you may continue on with your direct examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. All right, Gerhard, before we get back into the counseling, there were 2 exhibits I wanted to introduce, or at least attempt to introduce. This is Exhibit 126. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
So, Gerhard, we're talking about the audiobooks that you and Ariel were kind of reading to get, bouncing off each other, learning from. Did you guys text each other about it?
Yes.
And can you just look through this text and look through this document and let me know, is that a fair and accurate depiction of the text messages you guys are having back then related to some of the audiobooks you were listening to?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, move to admit 126.
Mr. Carter. No objection. Order to mark for identification as Defendant's Exhibit D126 is received as evidence.
Mr. Dirks, could we please now publish the first page? Okay. So if we can blow up this top part here, how to help this one here, Mr. Dirks, please? Yeah. So one of the books that she was willing to listen to was called How to Help Your Spouse Heal from Your Affair, yes?
Yes.
All right, we can take that down. I was asking you about if she admitted to you in text message about a secret affair. May I approach with 125? Huh? Yeah, there. May I approach, Ron? Yes. Okay. I want you to just quickly thumb through that and take a quick look at it. Is this a fair and accurate depiction of the text messages between the 2 of you on December 9th about the affair?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, move to amendment 125.
Mr. Carter. No objection. Court has been marked for identification as Defendant's Exhibit D125 is received as evidence.
Can we, Mr. Dirks, publish it starting on the second page for now? Okay, can we blow up the top part? Just that first message, okay? So this, Gerhard, was this a message that you sent her?
Yes.
You engaged and continued an elaborate secret affair instead of coming to me and asking to work on our relationship. And can we take that down? And then at the bottom there, Mr. Dirks, can we blow up the response? And did she respond to you? If anything, I learned how stupid it was this time and know how to make sure it doesn't happen again. Is that?
I'm sorry, not to be such a YouTuber, but I'm gonna need to see better receipts. Because again, is he punishing her? You know what I'm saying? And what does this matter? You know what I'm saying?
Would she texted you back?
Yes.
Okay, we can take that down. Now, Gerhard, he mentioned starting counseling and how it was kind of, about the affair, but kind of turned out to be more about other things in your relationship.
Yeah. Chad Great Point says, I wonder if she was listening to that audiobook and found herself not relating. Well, I think that is what happened. Because it wasn't an affair. It was not an affair. Okay? You can call it an affair, but it really wasn't an affair. Like, it was definitely inappropriate. And I definitely think in a healthy relationship, it would have been a time for some counseling and checking in with one another and, asking each other some questions about it. And also, Jeff was married. And so Jeff, right? So his wife needs to have some, hey, what were you doing with her? This is devastating in a lot of ways. But again, it was solvable. I'm not saying they even had to stay together, but I'm saying the text messages were inappropriate. They weren't even close to what I would say. Look, you know how strict I am about cheating. I'm so strict about it. But if this is the stage in which my partner and I were at, I just couldn't imagine us going straight to I would just be like, oh, why are you entertaining these messages? Do you think there's something subconsciously very inappropriate happening in your brain? Are you even aware of it? You know what I mean? I think there's something here that could have been, but he's treating her like you had this horrible affair. You're the reason our kids will not have a mother. No, you're the reason your kids almost didn't have a mother. Okay? Because you hit her in the head with a rock. And I know I might get demonetized and even in trouble for showing you that photo, but that's the other point of censorship I want you to pay attention to. They don't want you to see what men do when they're angry in marriages. They don't want you to see what it's like when women say, I was afraid to leave because of what he might do. They don't want you to see the truth of what happens in relationships where you guys think it's so easy. Oh, she made this happen. She brought it upon herself. I want you to see what really happens in these situations. And I don't care if it makes everybody uncomfortable. You should be uncomfortable. It's really fucked up. And now here we have this man blowing his nose, asking for a tissue, clearing his throat because it's so hard to speak, crying at the thought of this text message affair. And then that's what he did to her. Bullshit.
There was evidence the other day about this recording device. Did you purchase this audio recording device?
I did.
And why did you do it?
So, what was going on? Some of what was going on in December, and it kind of came to a head on that morning, right before our first counseling session.
Okay.
Is that she said that, basically she's so upset about other things going on in the relationship that she wasn't sure if she wanted to stay with me, and that and then she kind of blurted out that Gianna thinks I'm a monster, and she had talked to her mom, and her mom also agreed that this isn't a big
And then
deal.
what
And
happened?
so I was really concerned and suspicious that she was basically lying to them and telling them a completely different version of what was going on in our relationship, and then also what the affair entailed.
Okay. And so the audio device was what?
So I was like, I have to catch her in a lie, basically. And so it was me like thinking like kind of like an engineer. How do I fix this? And I was like, I fix it by getting more evidence. And so so I.
You mean being a stalker? Okay, Joe. Maybe you are the problem. Isn't that giving Joe? It is giving Joe right now. This is why I'm saying, ladies, I don't know how you even crushed on Joe to begin with, but red flag. You know what I'm saying?
So I bought that in the hopes of basically. So I was going to use it to record conversations that we would have, and then the two of us. And then if things weren't moving in the right direction, I can be like, listen, this is what you said. Listen, like this is what she's telling me. Because if she's telling a different story to her mom Judy and to Gianna, then I could basically catch her in a lie.
Did you end up actually using it?
I tested it and figured out how to use it, and never actually used it for that purpose.
Wait, hold up.
Listen, this is what you said. Listen, like this is what she's telling.
Oh, so this is what my Discord just sent me, isn't it? Wait, is this what Discord just sent me about Amazon package? Your package just arrived. Let me see. Is this what you just sent me? Email exhibit, Gerhardt's Koenig wanted to suppress his trial, Hawaii versus Koenig. Is this the listening device he ordered or something? Is that what you guys are sending me in the Discord? Am I seeing that right? Or no, am I misunderstanding something? Am I lost?
Telling me, because if she's telling a different story to
Okay, Discord said, yeah, right, okay.
her mom Judy and to Gianna,
Okay.
then I could basically catch her in a lie.
Did you end up actually using it?
I tested it and figured out how to use it, and never actually used it for that.
Listen, if I was, here's the problem. A bad person can do everything a real victim would do, and they would still be a bad person. The court and the jury have to decide, is this person doing everything a good person would do, but is actually a bad person? Or is this person a good person being painted as a bad person, right? So like victims are told to document, to record, to get evidence, and a bad person could learn this and also exhibit the behavior. So it is why we go to trial. It is why we need to look at the evidence. It is why we have to go through people's history. Because what we're doing is we're trying to figure out what is the truth, right? What is the actual truth?
Purpose. We ended up not ever talking about the affair at home, and that was kind of one of the other things that she was able to do through therapy, is that we were not allowed to discuss the affair at home anymore.
Okay. And back at that time, where you just your head was kind of just spinning, and were you just trying to figure out how to get through it?
Yes.
Okay. So you start counseling, and you mentioned that you guys weren't talking about the affair at home anymore. And were you talking about it much at counseling?
A little bit. So the counselor that we went to on Maui, the first couples counselor, was fantastic, and it was in-person counseling, and she really listened to us both and made us both feel hopeful, because she basically said, like, this isn't the end of the world, everything that I'm hearing, and as long as you guys are both committed to making this work, like this is, we're going to get to a better place at the end of this. And so it felt very, very hopeful in that sense.
Okay.
So now he's going to punish her for wanting to leave. So now she's going to say, okay, but now I'm not sure if I want to stay married to you. And now she's evil again. You're not evil for ending a marriage that isn't making you joyful. There are ways to do co-parenting. He should know. He's been divorced before. Like, she will be painted as like, I can't believe you're doing this again. We just had a child together. I can't believe this. Like, that's the problem, is like, she's in a no-win situation from his perspective. Okay? She's not allowed to have friends he doesn't approve of. She's not allowed to talk to people the way he doesn't like. She's not allowed to leave the marriage. Like, now the failure of the marriage will once again be on her for not trying hard enough.
The counseling sessions themselves were focused a lot on other things, and then
Yeah, great point. So Chad says, so even the therapist agreed this isn't the end of the world. Yeah, so even the therapist agreed, right? Like, because it shouldn't have been. But the truth is, and this is the point, right? Like, he decided to want to end her world, and she had the right to want to end that marriage regardless. You know, and maybe that's the point. Maybe that's what you can call inappropriate, is like, maybe she was realizing through the connection with Jeff, man, I'm not happy in my marriage. And congratulations, you are allowed to realize this. You are also, look, more likely settling. Let's be real, guys. Do you think they are the love of each other's lives? No, they are obviously in a settling marriage. This is why I say don't settle. Don't settle. Because, like, I guarantee you this is a settling marriage. Because, like, why are we talking about murder? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you say this is the person I love more than anyone in the world? Oh, so I'm going to try to murder her? Like, girl.
also on like general kind of relationship building things.
All right. So heading
in those
now,
first few
you know,
months.
in February, you know, heading towards March. Overall, how after you know, I guys are in counseling for a little bit, and overall, how are things going?
Good, actually. I mean, I felt really hopeful. And in kind of hindsight, I would describe it as taking Tylenol when you're sick, right? It makes you feel better. It's not actually addressing the illness. It's not actually, you're not doing anything about the disease itself, but it felt better because we were learning, communication techniques. We were doing a bunch of exercises to kind of define what we wanted our relationship to be like at the end of this and things like that.
And you
we
weren't
were
really
also,
you mentioned not talking too much about the affair at home.
Yeah, so we weren't allowed to talk about the affair at home either, so it kind of made home life easier.
Okay. So
and in that sense, too.
Let me ask you this. Heading into March, were you still committed to trying to make this work?
Yes.
Heading into March, were you still hoping that you guys could work through it?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're into March, and as we've learned, Ariel's birthday is in March.
Here we go.
The trip to Oahu, how did it come up?
I have to schedule my vacation basically 1 year in advance. So we plan vacation as a group, and we have to cover a bunch of different sites and stuff. And so we have like a vacation lottery like a year in advance. And so I had the week off of her birthday already.
Oh, you had scheduled from before? You had scheduled your vacation around her birthday?
Yes.
Okay.
And so I had the week off for her birthday. That's one of the weeks that I had gotten off, and I always do that. I try to get her birthday off and my birthday off and things like that. So I asked her, what do you want to do? And she said, well, we don't have to do anything, but I've never been to Oahu. I would like to go to Oahu at some point. It doesn't have to be this trip, but
Okay, let me stop you there. So the concept of going on a staycation to Oahu was first floated by who?
by her.
Okay, but to be fair, she said, but we don't need to do it. I don't know if it's the right time. And what did you say in response to that?
I said, there's no reason not to. I have the time off, and she could take the time off. And
Did you think it would be a healthy thing for you guys to do, given everything you've just been through the last couple of months?
yeah, I thought it was great. We had just been to California for a week with the kids, and that went really well. And so we had taken like a nice family trip, and it just seemed like it'd be nice to take a couple's weekend away.
Had you forgotten about the affair and Mr. Miller or anything like that?
Not at all.
Okay, but you were still hopeful and working towards a better place.
Yes.
And you thought the trip might be a good part of that.
Yeah.
Okay. So she brings it up. She says maybe it doesn't have to be now, but you say, no, let's do it. And do you start to plan the trip?
Yeah, I do.
What day were you guys going to get to Oahu?
Sunday.
And what airline were you going to? Well, you flew over on an airline, obviously.
Yes.
From the Maui airport.
Yeah, I can't remember which airline.
Okay. But from the Maui airport.
Yeah, from Maui to Oahu.
Did you and Ariel check bags or carry on?
Just carry on.
Did you go through the TSA checkpoint with her and your carry-on bags?
Yes.
Were there any problems going through the TSA checkpoint?
Not at all. No, the bags weren't searched or anything.
You land on Oahu on Sunday now, I think you said?
Sunday morning.
Sunday morning. What was planned for the first day?
The first day, we were gonna do like a couple spa therapy, like a couples massage at the hotel,
Okay.
and then just walk around Waikiki and shop and just kind of explore Waikiki.
And was that what you guys did?
Yes.
And how'd it go?
It went great. Yeah.
1 second, Your Honor. This is 172. Your Honor, may I approach with what's been marked as Defense Exhibit 172?
Yes.
I wonder how long you sat that
I want
cough.
to show you this here hard. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
What is that a photo of?
It's a photo of us at the hotel.
Okay. On the day, at the top it says March 23rd. Does this look like it was the day you guys got there?
Yeah, this is right after we got there.
Fair and accurate depiction of how you guys looked that day you got there?
Yes.
Your Honor, could I please move into evidence Defense 172?
Mr. Byrne. No objection. Closing mark for identification as defendant's exhibit 172 is received into evidence.
Could we please publish? Okay. Can we zoom in on the photo, Mr. Darks, please? Okay. So this is the day before March 24th, right?
Yes.
You guys had a good day? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Did you plan this trip on Oahu to try and kill your wife?
No.
Whoa! Fuck. Yo! Okay, hold on, left field. Oh, damn. He's sitting here moving so slowly through this whole fucking question, and then all of a sudden, like, boom! Did you try to kill her? Oh my god! Whoa! Hold on, girl.
Did you plan this trip on Oahu to try and kill your wife?
No.
Okay. Were you trying to do something nice for her birthday?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, is he gonna cry now?
Okay, we can take that down.
Yeah, I just can't have it, girl. Listen, I'm a big girl. If at the end of this case, I swear on my life, at the end of this case, if you can prove with evidence that he is the victim and Ariel is the perpetrator, I will 100% take back everything I've ever said. But let me tell you this right now, girl, ain't about to happen. Okay? I'm a big girl, though. I will always right my wrongs. So if I am wrong, I am wrong. And I don't want to get swept in this case the way I do, sometimes. But if I am wrong, I am wrong. So let's all hold each other accountable to make sure, we're right. But also, you bludgeoned her in the head with a rock. Okay? With a rock. You bludgeoned her in the head with a rock. Okay? So let's hold each other accountable. And also, the evidence will show. And so far has shown you're guilty.
Let me also approach, please, or may I please approach with Exhibit D-173. This is okay. May I approach on it? Yes. I'm going to show you this. What is that a photograph of?
That's a photo of us in the hotel room.
Okay. On the 23rd of March.
Yes.
Is it an accurate depiction of how you guys looked the day before this incident?
Yes.
All right. Your Honor, I'd move to admit D-173.
Mr. Varner. No. Was the mark by identification as Defendant's Exhibit D-173's receiving evidence?
May we please publish?
Yes.
Okay. Let's zoom in again. Is this the hotel room you guys are in?
Yes.
Okay, and this the day before the hike, yes?
Yes.
Okay. All right. We can take that now. Did you go to dinner the first night?
Yes.
Second day you guys are going to be there. Were you planning on going on a hike?
Yes.
And why? Why a hike? How did that come up? Tell us about that. Is that something you guys would do often? Tell the jury about that hiking.
Yeah. So we would hike often, and we would travel often too. So we pretty much wherever we went, we typically would hike at some point during the trip. And we weren't like crazy campers or anything like that. So we wouldn't do like a bunch of overnight things, but we like to do hikes. And she also wanted to see Oahu, and so I was looking for hikes that we could do that would kind of show the island.
Okay, and I'll get back to the particular hike and why you chose that one. But did Ariel enjoy hiking?
Yes.
Something you guys did all the time?
All the time.
Okay, I believe D-156 is in evidence. May I publish D-156, Your Honor?
Please.
Okay. Let's please zoom in on that photo. So is that
Yeah, that's at Iao on Maui.
okay? And that's a hike you guys would do.
It's like a secret hike behind the Iao monument that you can do if you know where it
Some
is.
steep cliffs here and there?
A lot of them, yeah.
Okay. All right, we can take that down. There was testimony about how the hikes that day on the Palipuka Trail, it made her feel uncomfortable, Ariel. Had you guys been on hikes or activities before with equal or greater heights and cliffs?
Definitely.
Did you guys ever go bungee jumping?
We did.
Okay. Tell the jury about that, where that was and what that was like.
Yeah, so we got engaged in South Africa. We did a 2-week trip there and met a lot of my family and friends and did a lot of sightseeing and got engaged. And as part of that trip,
the bungee jumping?
we went bungee jumping.
Yeah, off of what?
It's called Blokrans Bridge. It's a bridge that spans a beautiful canyon in South Africa, and it's a 700-foot bungee jump.
All right, just a reminder that we covered this the first time Ariel told her story. As a person who's jumped out of a plane 3 times, that's me. I'm Brittany. I did it. I jumped out of a plane 3 times, girl. 3 separate occasions. I jumped out of a plane. Me. Whoo, shoo. Still afraid of stationary heights. Still get very scared when I'm in buildings that are more than 6 floors. I still have an incredible amount of anxiety over being in an airplane. I still experience vertigo. when I went up to the top of the Seattle Needle, the Space Needle, I was terrified. Okay. Almost pissed myself. Still went. Okay. Just because I've done it doesn't mean that I'm consistently not afraid or afraid of the same things. Okay. Like sometimes I'm afraid, sometimes I'm not afraid. Doesn't change anything.
One of the tallest bungee jumps, one of the tallest commercial bungee jumps in the world.
And Ariel did that?
Yes.
Okay. Could we please also pull up Exhibit D149? That's already in evidence. Sure, let's let the clerk confirm it.
Please.
Okay, thank you. Would you guys go ziplining?
Yes.
Have you gone ziplining?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Costa Rica.
That's in Costa Rica? Costa Rica?
Yes.
Okay. We can take that down. In your entire relationship, when there were, whether it be bungee jumping, the hikes with steep cliffs, ziplining, had she ever expressed any concern about hikes before?
Ooh, if he says no, that's even more of a dig against him, even though it sounds like it's a dig against somebody else, right? But like, she felt so uneasy with you. Something intuitionally told her not to go with you that day. And instead of that being an obvious, oh, I'm glad she listened to her gut, now it's going to be like, oh, it's a part of a plot plan.
We are both very cautious people, and we stay safe, and so we don't end up going close to the edge. Our friend Gianna likes to go and pose for crazy pictures, and we didn't pose for the super crazy pictures, but we would always do the hikes and without any concern.
Okay. Even ones with steep drop-offs.
Yes, for sure.
Okay. Now, there was testimony from Detective E. Numa about some of the searches you did on hikes. And first of all, there was some searches in there about Maui hikes. Why were you searching hikes about Maui in that early March time period?
I was looking for hikes on Oahu, and then while I was looking at hikes, I just started kind of looking at hikes that I had meant to look up in Maui too. We hiked a lot on Maui, and had done all of the kind of the ones that are easier to find out about, and so we were talking to a bunch of people that are from Maui and getting recommendations for hikes. And so when I was looking up hikes, I was looking up some of the Maui hikes as well. I also looked up some hikes on Kauai that I'd heard about that I wanted to do in the future.
Did you also hike with Emil?
All the time.
Okay. On Maui?
On Maui, yeah. He loved hiking and jumping off waterfalls.
Okay. So you do the research. Do you come across the Palipuka hike?
Yes.
You don't even deserve to say your child's name.
And what did you learn about it, and why did you choose that one? What were the things that made you choose that one over the other ones that you researched?
It just seemed like a really cool spot you end up in, where there's this hole in the mountain you can look through and take pictures. The hike itself seemed fun because it provided a bunch of great views, but it was also kind of close to Waikiki, and it wasn't too long of a hike.
Why did it matter if it was really long or not?
We didn't want to spend the whole day out, so we were only going to be here from Sunday to Tuesday, and so Monday was our only the only day that we were here the whole day, and we wanted to hang out by the pool for
so
part
was the
of
plan. Go on this kind of shorter hike and then go hang out at the pool the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Did you also make a dinner reservation at
Yes.
Set?
Yes.
For that night?
Yes.
Did you explain to Ari ahead of time that you had found this Palipuka hike?
Yes.
Did you tell her a little bit about it?
Yeah.
Did she object to it in any way?
No, not at all. She sounded excited.
Excuse me?
She sounded excited.
Okay, second day. Now, you said the plan was short hike, spend some time at the pool, go to dinner. Let's talk about that day. So was that her birthday, we've heard?
Yes.
So you guys wake up, and already in evidence is States Exhibit 133. May we publish that, Your Honor?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Did you give her a birthday card that day?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, we're not going to read the whole thing, but did you mean the words you wrote in there?
I did.
Okay. We can take that down. Did you also get her a birthday present?
I did.
What did you get her?
It was a necklace, like a Koa wood silver necklace.
Okay. You wake up, what do you do before heading out to the hike?
We had breakfast at the hotel, and then next door to the hotel was a bakery where we got some coffee and some pastries.
Okay. May I approach with D175?
Yes.
What is this a photo of? Well, do you recognize it?
Oh, that's Ari at breakfast at the hotel.
Okay. Is it a fair and accurate depiction of how she appeared on the day before you left for the hike?
Yes.
All right. Could we please admit D175 into evidence?
Mr. Gardner. No objection. What has been marked for identification as Defendant's Exhibit D175 is received as evidence.
Can we please publish? Okay. So this is a photo from that morning before the hike?
Yes.
Okay. All right. We can take that down. Thank you.
Not that it's important, but both of them have lost significant weight since then. And I wonder if it's just the stress of the situation or everything going on, but both are quite skinnier than they were at this time, which is interesting. Like the changes, you can see the changes in both of them. I mean, it's a stressful situation, you know?
Now, as you're, were you going to drive to the hike?
Yeah, we had a rental car.
Now, did you receive an email that morning that you shared with Ariel before the hike dealing with life insurance?
Yes.
So, first of all, let me ask you, let's back up a little bit. You talked about January, February, and you guys kind of get to this place where you're in counseling, and you guys decide you're going to be together, and you're working on it. Did there come a time when part of what you did during that time was assess the life insurance situation of you and Ariel?
Yeah.
Tell the jury about that.
And really, it was pulling the trigger on life insurance. So I used to have life insurance in Pittsburgh through my employer, and didn't have life insurance when we moved to Maui, and it was always on the to-do list, and just got busy with life and other things. Originally looked into it the previous year, but never went so far as to contact the life insurance agent and actually go through with it. And in January, we were kind of working on big picture relationship things, and I was like, oh shoot, we still have to get life insurance. Okay. And so I talked to Ari, and we both applied for life insurance at the same time at the end of
Did
January.
you get the same amount?
No.
Why not?
The idea was that if one spouse would die, the other one would be able to continue on and live in the same house. And so it was, since I made significantly more money than she did, it was basically enough money that she could pay off the house if I would die.
So what was the plan in terms of the amount you were trying to get on your life for her?
1.5 million.
Okay. And then when you guys did the analysis of what, if something happened to her, you would still have your salary to pay for the house and whatnot.
That's
Can I say something totally crazy? What's 1.5 million when you're making 300,000 a year? You know what I mean? Like, you could easily just get there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, there are people who make 70K a year who eventually get to $1 million. It takes their whole career, but like, you're making 300,000. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, I get what they're trying to imply, right? That she wanted to kill him for the money. And then they're saying like she wanted, and that he wanted to kill her for I don't even know. So like, I get it, but also like, you guys are high earners. You make a lot of money. I mean, I get it, but also, like, does she need that money? Do you know what I mean? I don't know if this is the right angle they want to take with it, but okay.
Right. So what was the amount that was decided for her?
250,000.
Okay. And the 1.5 million that you were trying to get on your life, was she the beneficiary?
Yes.
Okay. And vice versa?
Yes.
Okay. So 250 if something happened to her, but 1.5 million to her if something happened to you. Is that right?
Yes.
Now, when you went about securing the 1.5 million on your life for her, did it happen in two parts?
It did.
And so the first part was for how much?
1 million.
And when did that roughly get approved in relation to March 24th?
Now, Chat says these stories make me scared to get life insurance, but it's a good idea to get. Yes or no? I don't know. Definitely, like, I had someone really sweet reach out to me in my comment section. I don't know if they're here in chat today, but I told them I told you guys that I was hesitating because my partner and I still have to do that. We've just been, paperwork, and we have so many other things we're doing. And this person was like, Brittany, my partner died and I wasn't prepared, and just please go get life insurance. And it's hard. My brother has life insurance, in case something happens to him. It's really in case. It's an in case decision. You make a small investment. It's not the worst decision. It's just hard when you have all these bills already, and then it's like one more thing for this thing that might never happen. It just feels, it will happen eventually. Somebody will die. But I think it's just an overwhelming, thing to do. But my dad had life insurance. My brother has life insurance. Basically it's the person who makes the money does typically get the more life insurance. It's to cover the money. So like, God forbid my brother ever died and left his 6 kids, almost 6 kids alone. My sister-in-law, who has not been working, would have a substantial amount of money to float them. And then of course, family and friends would come in and help them get on their feet and stuff like that. But it just depends on your life and where you're at. But yeah, like my partner and I, it's a struggle because it's just the two of us, and we're, if one of us dies, like, it won't be the end of the world right now, but it could be later, But then the thing is like, I feel like Croatia will take care of my partner, and America, like, I'll be fine. I'll make it work for myself. Like, I already am the breadwinner. My partner doesn't make money anyways. So them dying wouldn't be a loss of income for me. So, you know, things to think about, but like obviously it'd be nice if you got a big check because your partner accidentally died because a bus hit them. Like that would be very nice to get through funeral costs. And so you have to make those decisions. But the reason there is a pattern between people who go to murder and life insurance plans is because they typically do it in a short period of time. It's very suspicious. It would be a huge coincidence that you took out these life insurance plans within months of then murdering or attempting to murder your wife. It just like, and again, I'm not saying he did it for her money, because yeah, in this case, $250,000 doesn't seem like that much. And yet it's suspicious, but it could actually be just a crazy coincidence. Or he took it out. Okay, this is my theory. If he was planning to murder her and he was already ahead and planning everything he was going to do, then if I was him and this was a TV show, I would take out the life insurance plans just like this so it looked like she was trying to murder me. Right? Like, wouldn't that be the best reverse psychology decision to make as a killer? Do everything that would make me look like the victim when I'm not. I don't know. I feel like that kind of, you know, but maybe he's not thinking that hard. Maybe I'm giving him too much credit. Maybe it was a spur of the moment thing. Maybe he had never intended to kill her. And it was just on that cliff in that moment. He had a rush of adrenaline with a realization that I'm sick of her fucking shit, as he said to her. And then it just, you know what I mean? Right? So it's like, maybe that's why we look at the evidence. Can we get down to what really happened?
A few weeks before.
Okay. The morning of March 24th, did you receive an email about the other 500?
Yes.
And what was the email?
That policy had gone through, and I needed to DocuSign the final documents to make it effective.
And did you DocuSign it that morning?
Yeah.
Your Honor, can I approach your D116?
Yes.
Dr. Coney, I'm showing you D116. I want you to look at it, and there's a lot of pages to it, but just the first page. Like, tell me what is D116?
This is the email from AAA Life that is asking me to DocuSign the policy.
Okay. And what date and time did you receive? Well,
I received it on Monday, March 24th at Monday, March 24th, 2025 at 8:02 a.m.
okay. And is this a fair and accurate depiction of the email and attachments you received on the morning of the hike?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have to move it into evidence.
Mr. No, Judge. Word the mark for identification as defendant's exhibit D116 is received into evidence.
Could we please publish the first page, Mr. Dux? Okay, so let's look at this, okay? So, Gerhard, at the top it says, please DocuSign, it has your name, it has the AAA life insurance. I guess that's AAA. Is that who you did?
Yes.
Is that who you got your life insurance from?
Yes.
And the date there is March 24th, 8:02. Is that right?
That's right.
And this was for the extra 500 you were adding on to the million of life insurance you got for her a few weeks before, right?
Yes.
Okay. Did you discuss this additional 500 that went through with Ms. Koenig, and that the email came in and you DocuSign? Did you tell her about that before the hike on March 24th, 2025?
I did, because we were in the parking lot after the coffee shop, and I was on my phone. I was like, oh, you know what, my, the last time my life insurance just went through. They're asking me to DocuSign it, and so I was doing that.
All right, we can take that.
Just want to let her know that I'm not like just texting or something, like, because we were out together.
Okay. So you were telling her what it was that you were looking at.
You're nodding your head, is that a yes?
Yes.
Thank you.
And so, from that point on, if something happened to you in an accident or whatnot, she would get $1.5 million, correct?
That's correct.
He's insinuating that, that was the moment it inspired her to kill him.
You guys drive up to the Pali Lookout after that?
Yes,
You get to the parking lot. Was it crowded when you got there?
it was.
Did you guys go? What did you guys do first after you parked?
We went to go. Actually, I think she went to the restroom first.
And the
But,
porta potty?
no, there's a bathroom.
I hate him.
Okay.
At the Lookout.
Okay.
And then we went to the Lookout.
You went to the Lookout. Now, Ms. Koenig testified about this thing about how it looked like there were hikers trying to find a trailhead, and then you said, oh wait, we want to be alone. Did that happen?
No.
How hard is it to find a trailhead?
It's not hard if you know where it is. It's not marked with a sign or anything, but it's right behind the bright blue porta potties, and there's a permanent rock wall, and it's like rock, like kind of almost like an altar right there. So if you know what to look for, it's really easy to find.
After looking at the Lookout, did you guys start the hike?
Yes.
You head up the trail, and as you're heading up the trail, did you guys stop and take any photos?
Yes.
Okay, and can we? I believe S131 is in evidence. Can we publish it?
Just a reminder that this hike was crazy hard.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That this hike was
So
vertical
this
up
is
a
photo that
hill.
was on right after you, kind of shortly before you. I mean, right when you started the hike. It was,
Yes.
And who posted that?
Harry did.
Okay. Okay. Let's take that down. Now, you're continuing on the hike. What happens at some point? What did something happen that led to an argument?
Yes.
Tell the
What?
jury what happened that led to an argument. Well, first of all, how far up into the hike was it?
Not very far. Just like 5 minutes. Like
Everyone always says this. We covered this last time. It's just 5 minutes. It's 5 minutes. Girl, it's 5 minutes up a hill. That the police officer who was body cam was shown, it shows him pausing to take a breather because it's a hard hike. Okay?
about 5 minutes of hiking, you get to a part where it flattens out a bit, and the edge isn't, like the cliffside isn't open, but there's a couple of spots where
And 5 minutes for maybe an experienced hiker, for me, it would be much longer.
you can get to the cliffside if you wanted to. So we're kind of still in that area, the same area that picture was taken.
Okay.
And Harry says, "Hey, I need to talk to you about something. I'm working on this project with Jeff Miller, and I'm going to need to travel with him again, and I need you to be okay with that. Is that okay?"
And so
I can't believe they went with they didn't go with the passion defense. I can't believe they didn't say I just snapped when I heard that everything we've been working for, she just spit in my face. Like, I want to work with Jeff again. I can't believe they didn't go for that. The psychotic, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I went crazy hearing his name again on her birthday, on this hike that was supposed to be an us weekend. Instead, like, she's being forthcoming with you. She's a professional. She has a job. Do you know what I mean? Like, she has a job and she's telling you, like, I have to go to work. What do you want from her?
she was kind of telling you, like, hey, there's just things at work going on. I need you to be okay with this. And asking you to trust her.
Yes.
Okay. And again, you mentioned you guys weren't talking about the affair at home anymore because of counseling, correct?
That's correct.
And you guys weren't talking about it in counseling a lot at that time?
We hadn't gotten to
That,
kind of the core of it yet.
so she brings this up. What is your reaction to it?
I'm very surprised, yeah.
Okay. Were you upset and angry?
I wasn't angry. I was surprised and upset, and I told her no. Like, I'm not okay with that. And not only am I not okay with that, like, I'm never going to be okay with that. Like, we haven't dealt with that part. Like, the only reason why I was okay with her still even working there is because we had placed these limits on their communication. But in my mind, like, she still needed at some point to quit her job.
Yeah, I don't remember this story either. Chet says, did Ari say this? I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember this story from her perspective either. But I will just say he's being incredibly unreasonable. Like, he's being so unreasonable with, and for him to say he wasn't angry. Okay, girl, you're angry enough to keep her away from work, her job, her income, her independence. Like, she is working. Like, work doesn't know this is happening. Her coworkers probably don't know this is happening. You are making her work difficult. Like, I can't even imagine the social the social weirdness of what's happening at work for her. Like, her coworkers probably have no fucking idea. And even if they do, like, don't you understand personal from work, professional? You cannot, because of your personal attitude, interject on her professional. What if she can't get another job after this because you fuck up her chances at, you know what I'm saying? Like, it feels like he's trying to control her money. He's trying to keep her from working. He's trying to punish her at every move. Like, Jeff still works. She works. Reminder, they don't physically work together. They have to see each other, right? They both work remote, okay? He's just, this is so, guys, if you're going through this, talk to a counselor, but please be reasonable about you cutting off your partner's income. And make sure you have a job they can replace it with that's reasonable, that's in trajectory for their career, that makes sense for their future, that doesn't, like, you know what I mean? Like, I know a lot of people don't have, like, careers. I get it. But she has a career. It's not a job. It's a career. It's a very different investment. I know jobs, you feel like, oh, I can get another job. Okay, but when you're working at a career where you need a good resume and you're working at a you got to think about these things. Regardless of how much she hurt you, again, that's still the mother of your children. Again, given what she, quote, did to him, ridiculous response. Okay?
and this was only put on hold while we were trying to deal with all these other things. She basically said like, well, I can't quit my job right now because I don't even know if I want to stay with you. So we were dealing with like the issues that she brought up first, but it's not like any of the affair had been resolved at all. Like it had just kind of been put on hold. And so
How did you feel that she would even think that this would even be okay?
yeah, I mean
Oh my God, this crazy lady was thinking she could be professional at work. Oh my God. You guys need to grow the fuck up. This woman has a job. She has a career. Grow the fuck up.
it made me realize that we were just not on the same page at all in terms of like here I am just kind of like sublimating my feelings and focusing on her hurt and waiting patiently for her to do the same to me, and this made me feel like she wasn't intending on doing that ever.
So what did you say back to her? Were you guys kind of arguing about it?
Yeah, we were for sure arguing.
Okay, and then so what did you say anything to her?
I just said,
moving out?
yeah, I said like I need you to move out. Like this has gone far enough. I need you to move out, and I'm going to tell people why you're moving out, and I'm going to show them what you did because.
Oh, so you threatened her. See how it's not safe to leave? See how she can't go to work? How does he not know this makes him look crazy? You're literally, yeah, Chad says blackmail. You're literally blackmailing her. How does he not understand how insane this makes you look? Yeah, Chess is definitely not an angry response. Yeah, bro, so much for not being angry.
Like, unless you face this and unless you take full accountability for this, like, we're never going to get through this.
So and that was like after you guys had been kind of arguing for a while about, I mean, an argument starts, you guys are arguing, you're telling her no, you're telling her all these things.
Yeah, I mean, the argument developed more slowly than what just happened, and there's other things said too, but that was...
Okay, trigger warning. I'm going to show you a picture of what he did to her on that hill after this argument, and he's claiming self-defense. He's claiming he had to do this to her because she actually tried to attack him. Are you ready? Trigger warning. I'm going to show you the photo, and I need you to see this photo because I need you to remember what a lying piece of shit this guy is and how easily we think domestic violence is we think domestic violence is literally like tee-hee casual. It is very fucking serious. People fucking die. Here's the photo. Okay? And I am risking demonetization for this. So you girls better learn from this. Okay? I want every single person here to learn from this. It's not funny. Domestic violence is very fucking serious. And more than likely, it is always the male partners. And more than likely, it is a woman partner that's going to be killed. It is not fucking funny. And it is so fucking serious. And in this situation, he cannot, okay, play stupid right in front of our faces. And that's what he's trying to do. And that's what they're trying to do. This is so fucking serious.
That's how it culminated with you telling her, well, if that's the case, if that's how you feel, you got to move on.
Yes.
Okay. What did she say anything to you about her mom and Gianna?
She did. So, like, earlier in the conversation, she'd be like, well, what if my mom chaperones my work trips with him? And I was like, no, like, I'm still not okay with that. Like, that's not a long-term viable solution. And then later in the argument, when things kind of got heated, she was like, actually, my mom just said that she'll chaperone the trip, and she thinks Jeff is interesting and can't wait to meet him. And I'm like, you're obviously telling them a whole different version of what happened than me.
So in the argument, in her effort to say, for you to be okay with it and go on the trip, she said, well, what if my mom chaperones me?
Yes.
Okay. After, it comes to this point in the argument, you say, well, you know what, you got to move out down. I'm going to tell everybody what you did. I mean, it was it got to kind of a...
Yeah, see, the whole, like, you need to leave is a punishment. It's not actually anything else. Like divorce. Get a divorce. It's time.
It was not a good conversation, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay, so what did you...
And look, I bet he feels somewhat like a failure. 2 divorces, multiple children for both marriages. This might hit his ego double. Like, wow, both of the women that I have fallen in love with wanted to divorce me. That's why I want to know what happened with his first marriage. Why did they get divorced? I mean, they were together young as teenagers, right? But I'm sure he feels some blow to his ego.
What did you do next?
I stomped off.
You know who he sort of reminds me of a little bit is Chris from Love is Blind. Do you see it? They're very similar to me. They're not... Chris is worse in the Andrew Tate way. He's worse than the normie guy way. Like, Gerhardt is more like a normie version. But Chris is like the over-exaggerated internet meme of this trope.
Stomped off up the trail, and this was a point where we were both really kind of just upset with each other, and I went one way and she went the other way.
How far up did you go?
Wait. Is this the time when Ari said she didn't feel comfortable walking still, so she took a break and sat there? And then he's saying this is one of the first fights? I'm confused about this timeline.
5 to 10 minutes.
Okay. Why did you turn around?
I was kind of at a loss of not kind of a loss. I was I just didn't want to be there. Like
Did it make sense for you to keep going on this hike?
no. I like 5 to 10 minutes in, I was like realizing kind of where I was, and I was like, I don't want to be here. I want to go home and like start dealing with what we need to deal with. I don't want to, I got to the point where it opens up and it's like these beautiful views, and I'm like there by myself and upset, and I was like, I don't want to be on this hike by myself, upset, and I don't want to do this hike. I'm going to come back and do this hike at a different time when I'm happy. I was really looking forward to doing the hike.
When you headed back down, were you expecting Ariel to be where you had left her?
No.
And where were you expecting her to be?
I thought she went to the car because I saw her head down the trail.
And there was testimony that when she said when you got there, you said, "Oh, you're still here." Did you say that to her?
Yes.
And is that because you assumed she had gone back to the parking lot?
Yes.
How far away from the parking lot were you guys when this argument started?
Like 5 minutes.
Okay.
Or less, probably. Yeah.
Okay. Now you get back. What is her demeanor and behavior like now?
Like a 180 reversal, basically. So she was like extremely apologetic, and said, basically, I'm so sorry. You're right. Like, I need to take accountability, and like, let's just, not ruin the day. I don't want to ruin the day. I don't want to ruin our trip, and let's keep talking about this in therapy. And she said, like, I won't travel with Jeff.
Did you guys end up taking a selfie?
Yeah. First, she was like, again, like almost manic, like super happy, and was trying to basically, get me to be.
Oh, interesting tactic. Oh, she was like manic. Basically, like she's the one with the mood disorder. Interesting. Was she the one who hit you in the face with the rock?
A better mood, and she was like, I'm gonna climb this tree, take pictures of me in this tree. And so she handed me her phone, and I took some pictures of her in the tree. And then after that, she said, let's take a selfie by the cliff's edge.
That was her idea.
Yes.
Okay. Did you guys take one?
We did.
And what happened after that?
Yeah, right after the selfie, I just remember kind of staying at the edge there and looking over the edge and just kind of still in thought about everything that had just happened and what's going on. And then I felt like a shove,
Okay.
and I was almost pushed over the edge.
Okay, here it begins. Are you ready? Let's see.
You felt a shove. Okay. Who shoved you?
Ari did.
What did you do right after that?
Barely caught myself and turned around and looked at her and was like, what the fuck was that? Like,
Okay. Turn around and it was like what was like kind of in shock. Like what the fuck was that?
yes.
Okay. And then did you move towards her?
Yeah, I did. I was like, just asking her, like, what was that? And started walking towards her.
Okay.
Because at this point, she was like 5 or 10 feet away from me.
Okay. So you walked towards her, and you mentioned when you're walking towards her, where were your hands?
Out.
Okay. Now, did you get close to her?
Yes, eventually, yeah. Well,
And by the way, when you start walking towards her, is she saying anything?
not initially. When I turn around, and I'm asking her, like, what the hell's, what the fuck just happened and what's going on? And as I'm starting to walk towards her, she starts yelling.
She starts yelling.
Yeah, help me, help me.
Okay.
What? How does this make any sense to what the nurses found? What? How does that make any sense? So she was manic and then pushed him and then just started screaming, help me, help me? What? This story doesn't even make any sense.
And then what happens?
And then I just keep walking to her, like, what are you doing?
Were you
And I
telling her, like, why are you screaming?
yeah, what are you doing? And I get to her, and I'm like, touching her, just putting my hands on her arms. And I was like, what are you doing? What's going on?
What happens then?
She keeps yelling, and she kind of grabs my wrists and throws herself on the ground and pulls me down with her.
So now you guys are on the ground?
Yes.
Okay. When you're on the ground, what starts to happen?
She's holding on to me, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. But I'm also at this point trying to let go of, like, trying to get free because she's like actively holding on to
What
me.
was
Like
she
she
doing
has her leg wrapped around one of my legs, and like is actively holding on to me and is yelling. And so I'm trying to get free, and I get my one arm free, and I try to use it to get my other arm free, and she grabs me by the testicles.
Okay,
And
let me stop you there. Did you ever, in the course of this whole thing you described so far, ever try to pull her towards, push her off, or drag her towards the cliff's edge?
No, not at all.
Okay. So you guys you're on the ground. She's kind of holding on to you. You guys are would you just kind of like a scuffle going on?
Yes.
Okay. And her legs wrapped around you.
Yes.
You mentioned we got right up to the point where you said she grabbed your testicles. Is that right?
Yes.
How hard did she grab it?
I mean, this was, like,
Pretty hard.
she, like, was holding on to me by my testicles, basically, like, that hard.
Okay. Did she grab it and let go, or did she grab it and hold on?
She grabbed it and held on.
Okay, for those of you who missed it, because I see you asking questions, we've gone over all of this. We've gone over evidence and photos and her, so please go watch the playlist. She did grab him by the testicles to get him off of her. Like, she did, there was pictures of him after the fight between the cops who he fought and her, and he had a few scratches on his ears, but he also resisted arrest. Okay? Mind you, according to Ariel and the two witnesses, when they came to them, he was on top of her, hitting her with a rock. And when the witnesses approached, Ari was screaming for help and he ran away. Ari said, call 911, and he ran away and evaded police and then fought police because they tried to arrest him or get, so just, okay?
Now, what happens after she does that?
Then I try to free my testicles, and so I'm like thrashing with, and I get both hands free, and I'm trying to get her to let go of my testicles, and then she hits me with a rock on the side of the face.
Okay.
It's him?
She's holding on to your testicles. You're kind of focused on that, obviously, and then at some point while you're focused on that, you
And it happened all really fast.
Yeah,
But
that's
I mean,
I'm glad you raised that up. Was this like happening slowly, where you had
it
time
all
to-
happened within like, I mean, probably less than a minute, maybe
Quickly.
slightly more than a minute, but I mean, maybe 2 minutes or something.
Yeah, but you weren't timing it.
From the moment that like we were on the ground and she was grabbing my testicles was like
It happened quickly.
everything after the grabbing of the testicles happened very quickly.
Okay.
What's laughing? This man is a fucking liar. Why is he laughing? This is not a tea time. This is not a story time. The son was devastated. He was so devastated getting that call from his dad. You just saw the burden and the weight and the stress on this 19-year-old kid's face. The burden he was carrying about his whole family legacy, his father calling him. And Ari was devastated. The scars on her head, just everything. And here's this guy laughing. He's laughing. And look, I understand all victims react differently to different situations. But if this is a victim, Jesus Christ, like, no way. Look, listen, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But this man feels guilty. You know what I'm saying? There is just no part of him that feels authentic to me. And I just don't even know, like, what evidence he's about to bring up for the rest of this story. Let's go.
And you weren't timing it or anything.
No.
This is just your best.
Let's rewind it again because he thinks testicles is a funny word.
Testicles happened very quickly.
Okay. And you weren't timing it or anything.
No.
This is just your best your estimate. Okay. So now, she's holding on to you, she's squeezing your testicles, and you kind of dealing with that. And she's on the ground. And you're kind of on top of her.
Yes.
Okay. And you said then you felt you got hit with a rock.
Yes.
Where'd you get hit?
On the left side of my face.
How many times?
She kept doing it. The first blow she landed really well, and after that I was able to block
Okay.
very well. She did like land a couple more, but not as bad as the first one.
Does she still got your testicles?
Yeah, so she's like holding my testicle and just like
Okay.
hitting me like this.
And now do you stop dealing with your
I'm
testicles?
just
and you-
focused on the rock at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did it hurt when you got hit with the rock?
You did.
Could we publish what's in evidence as Exhibit D30, Your Honor? Yes. Okay. Gerhard, is this where you got hit with the rock?
Yes.
That area? Is that the area?
Yes.
All right. We can take that.
Hold on. I just want to point out, though, because even if she hit him in the ear with the rock, which we're hearing for the first time, it would be because from her point of view, he tried to push her off the cliff. She got dragged down. She dragged her body to the floor so she wouldn't go over. Very good strategy. And then he was on top of her, attacking her. She is on the bottom. She has it would make sense for her to defend herself by hitting him in the head with the rock. And now from his perspective, she's saying, oh my God, my wife went crazy. She was manic pixie girl. And she started just thrashing at me and I had to fight back. Right? So like that's, you know, what are we doing? But I told you when we first heard the story that if I was in her position, I would have scratched his eyeballs out. I would have tried to grab his mouth. I would have tried to hit him on the testicles. I mean, theoretically, you never know what you're going to do. You might freeze, you might fawn, you might do a lot of things. So just ideally, if we could have this ideal fantasy where we all fight back and it's all beautiful, right? Because that's, you know, not what really happens. You know, then if you're lucky enough to have that enough, you know, then you would you would grab him in any way. Like remember, she's on the bottom of him. Remember the witnesses, when they come across them, she's on the bottom and she's the one screaming for help. You know what I'm saying? And again, once again, he was given opportunity after opportunity to say, I'm the victim, call 911, I need help. And he never does it. He never does it. He never says to the women, the nurses who found them, they're all in the medical field. He never says, hey, wait, no, my wife's going crazy. Please help me subdue her. I'm very concerned. We were on a hike for her birthday. Look, he doesn't do any of that. How does that make sense?
Now, you get hit with the rock. Explain to the jury what happens next and why.
I was able to wrestle the rock out of her hand.
Does she still have her testicles?
Yes.
Still squeezing them?
Yes.
What
And
do you do?
I was able to, like, so we're like, she's hitting me and I'm like walking and then I start like, you know, and I get
Is
a
there a
wrist.
scuffle over the rock?
Yes.
Is it near her face?
Yes. I mean, it's yeah, it's
And then what
right.
happens?
And I finally get the rock.
What'd you do?
I hit her with the rock.
How many times do you think you hit her?
I hit her 2 times.
Okay. And when you did,
I'm going to show you the picture again. Trigger warning.
also reviewed the medical record.
Does that look like 2 times? Does that look like he hit her 2 times? She said she recalls multiple times, maybe even 10 times. Does that look like 2 fucking times?
Was she still holding on to your testicles?
Yes.
At least initially?
Yes.
Okay.
Keep in mind, at the time, if I recall, she's 5'6", he's 5'11", she was 145 and he was 160 something. So this man has the strength over her. He could have just turned her around, pinned her down, grabbed her arms, maybe, right? I will acknowledge that not all men are built as strong as some women, and some women can be stronger than some men. But generally speaking, he's literally 20 pounds heavier than her at this moment. He's got like, he just has the advantage, okay? So keep in mind, 2 times, right?
Why did you hit her? Why did you react that way?
Just on instinct to defend myself.
Okay. How fast was this all happening? Pretty fast?
Really fast.
Okay. In between when she hit you with the rock, and in between the time she hit you with the rock and when you hit her with the rock, were you able to safely retreat and get away from her?
No.
Yeah, why not?
And mind you that they showed the lava rock with her blood on it. Okay, the court said it was more likely her blood on it, and the long pieces of blonde hair matched hers over his. They're both kind of blonde, but you saw long pieces of blonde hair stuck to the rock, right? So just keep that all in mind.
She was holding on to me.
Including your testicles?
Yes.
Did you hit her in the face or the eye with the rock?
No.
Where you said 2 times, where did you hit her?
On the side of the head.
Okay. So we've seen these photos of the stellate laceration.
I wouldn't say this is the side of the head. She showed the scar. It's right here. And the nurses who found her and took care of her, that's what I'm saying. 2 nurses came upon them and they gave her the care she needed. He ran away. And then he called his son. His son is saying, my father FaceTimed me and admitted he tried to kill Ariel. So now he has to make the claim that Ariel, okay, now he has to make the claim that the son is in cahoots with Ariel. Watch, he's going to accuse them of having an affair because they're not blood related. You know what I mean? Like you have to, now the 19-year-old boys, you're saying your son got on, you know, on the stand and testified that you said you murdered Ariel and he's lying. So we have 4 people who said you did it and you're like, nah, that doesn't even make sense.
You caused that by hitting her, right?
Yes.
Okay. Did you continue to hit her after those 2 hits?
No.
And why not?
Because she stopped fighting. She let go of my testicles and I was
Okay.
able to stand up.
And then you stopped.
Yes.
You know, there was testimony about the 2 witnesses. Did you
Yeah,
stop
what
hitting her
about
because
them?
the witnesses showed up?
No. I didn't know that they were there until after I stood up.
Okay.
Okay, so the witness, if I recall, basically said that he was hitting her, and then he like looked up and made eye contact with her for like 30 seconds. And it was like the realization sunk in, and then he like moved away, and the women moved away because they were afraid. And then Ari was screaming and came around the corner, and then he had run off. So he's playing stupid. He's like, I didn't even know there were witnesses.
Did you see blood?
Yes.
Was there a lot of blood?
There was a lot of blood.
Did you see her kind of scoot down towards the witnesses?
Yes.
Did you try to stop her in any way?
No.
You let her get to them.
Yes.
Did you hear her yelling to the witnesses, he's trying to kill me?
Yes.
Gerhard, did you have any syringes on the mountain that day?
No.
Did you try to poke her or stab her with any syringes?
No.
Okay. Now, Gerhard, she scoots away. She's now with the two witnesses. You see a lot of blood. What do you physically do next?
I'm just in a daze, and I just kind of watch her crawl away and then leave with the other two hikers.
Okay, she got the hikers. What do you do next? Was her bag in your bag there?
Yeah, so I just kind of reflexively gathered up all of our stuff, and then I start walking up the trail.
What?
Let me ask you this. At this point, immediately following what just happened, you saw, you guys had this scuffle. You saw a lot of blood. What was your state of mind and the emotional state like right now, right at this point that we're at?
Severe emotional distress.
How did you feel at that time about the fact that you had responded and defended
Horrible.
yourself? Let me finish the
Horrible.
question.
Sorry.
How did you feel about the fact that you, and even though you say it was, you were defending yourself, how did you feel about that she was bleeding?
I felt horrible.
Okay. Did you ever plan on hurting her that day?
No.
Did you ever want to hurt her that day?
No.
You reacted to defend yourself in the heat of that moment. You said yes?
Yes.
Okay. But did you still feel bad about it?
Yes.
Okay. You mentioned that.
At the end of the Gabby Petito documentary series, Gabby Petito's ex, who murdered her, writes a letter reworking history. He retells this story in his head about how she drowned and he had to save her. And then she begged him to end her life because she couldn't handle it anymore. When forensics show she died being bludgeoned to death. But the letter he writes before he kills himself is that Gabby begged me to kill her to save her from this uncomfortable position she was in, which allegedly was falling into some body of water while they were camping, if I remember correctly. But that reworking of history, that retelling of how events went, it doesn't even make sense. Forensics say, it's the weirdest thing to hear because the evidence points in such a different direction that it's how did you even think this was going to work out? And then for him to tell his kid that he was thinking about killing himself, and then the son was like, don't kill yourself, right? Why does he think this story makes sense in any possible way?
You were in some kind of extreme emotional distress, I think you said. Okay.
Yes.
Did you become, at some point after that, suicidal?
Yes.
Why? Tell the jury why. To the best of your understanding.
I just felt hopeless at that point in terms of everything. I felt horrified about what I did to her, that I caused this to her, that I had resorted to violence against my wife, the person who I loved the most in the world, and just kind of felt hopeless in terms of our relationship too.
Okay.
You know what's weird about this? Okay, have you guys ever been in a scuffle or a fight of any kind? It feels to me like if this happened the way he's describing, he'd be like, oh my God, that bitch tried to kill me. He'd be like, oh my God, I don't even know what's wrong with her, bro. She went fucking crazy. He'd be like, holy shit, bro. He'd be reacting. Is he too white? Is he just missing out on the, where's the reaction? I feel like at any time my family has gone into stuff, he'd be like, oh shit. Where's the oh shit? Where's the where's the human reaction? This is such a weird reaction. Are you a sociopath? No, shout out to my sociopaths. But where's your reaction? Where's your You know, where's your, I don't know, like, where is his, I don't know, something. Like, where is his, you know? I don't know. Yeah, Chet says because he spent so much time formulating this story. Maybe that's it. Maybe he's just so rehearsed. It just doesn't make sense to me. Because, like, there's nothing human about this response. I don't even get it. Like, I remember one time in the family, we were having a get together and two of the uncles started getting into it, which was kind of very funny because they're both kind of big guys. And then they were rolling around like roly-polies fighting each other, like two brothers. And I was like, oh my God, and all of us were like, boo, you're so dramatic. What are you doing? And everyone was like, oh my God, you're so stupid. And then like, it was like, you know, there's like a reaction where you're like, you're kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing? And like, it's so stupid because you're grown-ups. What are you grown up doing right now? But there's like a response that is almost like shock. Like, what are you doing? But this, because it happened so fast, why is he, I think he's retelling the story as if it was like, I don't know, like more traumatizing than it even should have been in a weird way. Like from his perspective. From his perspective, it shouldn't be this traumatizing. Like, in a sense, but from her perspective, incredibly traumatizing. What the fuck? What are you doing? But from his perspective, if he thinks his wife has just gone crazy, you know what I mean? He's not communicating like that's actually the story. Because it feels weird. I don't know. I don't like it. Yeah, Chet says as a medical professional, you see your wife gushing blood and that you did and don't do anything medical. That's what I'm saying. And two nurses came up and he didn't say like doctor words and they didn't try to bandage her. He could have said, oh, my wife's having a manic episode. I don't know what's wrong. Let's get her some help. He like went deeply personal. Oh, that's what it is. He's taking everything deeply personal. Jeff asked my wife, my goddamn wife, what's her favorite music? That fucking dick. I can't believe he did that. That's my fucking wife. I can't believe he asked my fucking wife. I can't believe he texted good morning to my fucking wife. That's what he sounds like to me. He sounds so, everything is personal. Everything is like, there's no professionalism in him. Look, I've watched a lot of doctor shows, okay? Sometimes shit happens. You still got to be professional. You know, he just doesn't give professional. He gives every little thing is a weapon against me. Every little thing is like, bro, can you please be professional? Thank you.
And that being said, I mean, in that moment, were you defending yourself when you reacted that way?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
What did you do next? Now you're heading up the hill. What do you do next?
I just kind of kept walking up and kind of got to the same place that I had made it the last time, where the trail opens up and you're finally on the ridge. And
Were you thinking about jumping?
I'd already decided. I decided to jump, and kind of last second was made the decision to call Emil just to say goodbye.
Okay. So this incident happens. You know, you talked about the emotional state you're in. Did you believe your marriage was over?
Yes.
Did you believe you heard her yelling to the other people that he's trying to kill me?
Yes.
You saw how bloody she was?
Yes.
Did you believe that your career could be over?
Yes.
Okay. Did you?
See, that's what I mean. Why did he jump to all of those conclusions if he was innocent? If he was innocent, why would maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but I just like would never have thought about that stuff. Why in the world would I lose my job? She's the one who pushed me. Wait, why would I lose my career? Oh, what? Because you're a man and divorce court is so evil, you think everyone's going to believe you're the bad guy? Like, that's what, this is going to appeal to the misogynists. They're going to say, like, he never even had a chance because he's a man. Yeah, but like, if you were innocent in that time, why did it even cross your mind? Like, so were you, say like, I'm a man in divorce court and I just think, or I'm a man on trial and people are just going to think I did it because I'm a man. Like, what part of that situation led you to believing everything was over? What do you mean?
You became suicidal. Who's the one person in the world you wanted to call?
My son, Emil.
Before you jumped?
Yes.
Why not your daughter? He allegedly has a daughter who might be a trans man. We don't know. I haven't seen confirmation about this, but someone said something. Why did you call your other kid? Why was it Emil? What is it about your kid? What about your other two kids? You have 4 kids.
Okay. Were you in a good state of mind when you made that call?
No.
How do you feel?
And by the way, that same son testified yesterday that he did admit to wanting to kill Ariel, and his son is testifying against him.
About the fact that you put him in that position and made that call to him?
So many feelings because he saved my life that day.
Also, convinced you not to jump?
He saved my life that day, but I put him in this position where he is now, where he thinks I tried to kill her.
Okay.
And for the last year, he's thought that. And
You heard him yesterday only refer to you as the defendant and not as dad.
yes.
Do you blame him? Sorry, 1 second.
Oh, brother.
No, I don't blame him. I had such good intentions of calling him, but
In the sense that you wanted to say goodbye.
I wanted to say goodbye and tell him how he's an amazing person and he should live his life to the fullest. And
Okay. Okay. Let me stop you there. Okay.
Okay.
Let's talk a little more specifics about the call. Okay. First of all, where were you when you faced? Well, was it a FaceTime?
it was FaceTime, yes.
Okay. Where were you when you did this FaceTime call?
It was in a spot where the trail wasn't right next to the cliff edge, because the cliff edge at that point wasn't really an edge. It was like a 10-foot kind of sloped part, and then the edge. And so I was basically between the cliff edge and the trail, kind of hanging onto the side of the mountain.
Was it a pretty kind of steepish area?
Yeah, very steep.
And were you kind of like on the side of the mountain? Mm-hmm. So you gotta.
Yes, sorry.
Okay. And so just to be clear, the place you FaceTimed him from, was that the place that the incident took place?
No.
Okay. On the FaceTime, would it have looked like you were on kind of the edge of a mountain?
Yes.
Were you on speakerphone?
Yes.
I mean, like holding it where he could see your face?
Yes.
Now,
and I showed him the view and where I was. Like,
There was testimony from police officers that it was a windy day and notoriously windy area. Do you recall it being pretty windy that day?
it was windy, yeah, up there.
So you're on the side of a cliff, mountain. You have him on speaker on FaceTime. It's windy. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. You were extremely emotional at that time?
Yes.
Okay. So that's the context of this phone call, correct?
Yes.
Did you tell him that Ariel you were calling him to say goodbye, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Was your purpose to explain to him every last detail of what happened?
No.
Okay. But you did tell him several things, right?
Yes.
Did you tell him that Ariel had been having an affair?
I didn't.
Okay. Did you tell him that, she got hurt, her head was bleeding?
Yeah, after he asked about the blood on my shirt.
Now, did the word kill come up in the conversation?
It probably did.
What do you recall explaining to him about that?
I don't recall explaining. The one thing I can think of is that I said that she said I tried to kill her.
Okay. So let's break back that up.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, Chat's right. He's gonna say he misheard him, that he had no intention of killing her, that he's confused.
So you told him that the blood was hers, yes?
Yes.
And you're telling him that you're going to jump,
And yes.
okay? And did you tell him something about? We're going to get to the part about the police, but you're telling him about how you're going to jump, and you were saying you heard her say to the witnesses, he tried to kill me. Okay. Were you explaining that to Emil?
No. So
What
I
were
was
you saying?
I was talking to myself at the same time too, and I was basically saying, because I remember saying, wow, this is so hard, because it turns out killing yourself is a hard thing to do once you actually could go and do it.
Okay.
And so I was talking to him about saying goodbye and she had an affair and those things. But then
But why kill yourself? I don't understand the thought process. What about this situation would then make you think I should kill myself if you're innocent? I don't get it.
I was also kind of talking to myself, and I think I was saying to myself, she said I tried to kill her. She said I tried to kill her.
Okay. Were you confessing to him that you were trying to kill Ari that day?
No.
Okay. Did you have an intention to kill Ari that day?
No.
Okay. Would you have said it that way? I tried to kill Ari that day.
No.
Okay. But you don't dispute that the word kill probably came up.
No.
Okay. And can you understand how Emil in that conversation could have got that impression?
Yes.
Okay. So what else happens in this first call? What do you mean when you say he tried to he tried to convince you not to jump?
He just, and I mean, to his credit, I mean, he just reminded me that I had a choice, basically.
Okay. He reminded me I have a choice.
Yeah. It was just
So-
like, you know, do you really have to do this?
After that, you got off the phone with him. Well, he didn't jump, right?
No.
Okay. There was a second call an hour later,
Yes.
and he testified that he was at his Ari's parents' house. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, during that call, did he tell you what he told to Ari's parents?
Yes.
What did he tell you that he told Ari's parents?
He said, well, yeah, he said, I told them that you tried to kill Ari.
Okay. And what was your reaction to that?
I was like, why would you say that? And
Because
then,
you didn't mean that in the first call.
right.
Okay, so you're telling him why?
And
did
I
you
didn't,
tell him?
at that point I was like so confused at why he would say that.
Okay. And then what did you say to him after that?
And then I said, I gotta go, I gotta get off the phone.
And did you say to him, because you were going to kill yourself again?
Yes.
Did you say to him,
I said, I never mind, I gotta think about this. I'm probably gonna kill myself.
okay, did you?
What in the 48 years old? He was like 47 when this happened. Hello? Can someone be the adult in the room, please? See how no one is the adult in the room? I know this tragedy has just happened. But this story is insane. This is the crazy, like, in order for this story to be true, the evidence, I think, would have to be completely different. And again, I don't want to get swept up in the whole, you know, the story is going to make its rounds. I noticed that other people were starting to cover it, like the news. And I don't want us to get swept up the way Amber Heard was so wrongly accused during the Johnny Depp trial, right? That's why we revisited that trial. But I don't think that's what's happening here. And look, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. We'll hold our feet to the fire. But like, I just don't know how his story is true. I just don't understand it given the evidence. Right now, if none of this had ever happened, by the way, if he had caught the text messages and just said, hey, Ari, this is too much for me. I think our marriage is over. I'm sorry I went through your phone. I shouldn't have done that. But to be honest, like, that's enough for me. Let's end this marriage. They got divorced. We would have been like, oh, that's a bummer. Like, I'm sorry you guys couldn't work it out. But hey, it is what it is. Boom. But no, it was stalking, logging into phones, talking bad about her to people, trying to control her money, trying to make her quit her job, trying to like punish her. You know what I mean? Like, it was like every step he took through the whole story was just the wrong move. Like, how did you make so many wrong decisions? And then, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like a good, well-intentioned person cannot make this many bad decisions. And the fact that he said he hit her in the face twice with the rock, but then if you look at the aftermath, you look at the witnesses, you look at the situation, like, none of it makes sense. You know?
You say something to him about, I gotta go so the police won't find me?
Yes.
Okay, what did you mean by that? Why were you trying to avoid the police?
I didn't want my choice of killing myself taken away at that time until I had made the decision to either do it or not.
Okay. While you were still deciding if you were going to kill yourself, you didn't want to be seized by the police.
That's correct.
Because once they seize you, you wouldn't be able to kill yourself.
Yes.
Okay. After the second call, what did you do?
I just stayed on the mountain, kind of in the same general area.
Were you actively moving around, dodging the investigators?
Not really. I moved around a few times, but I mostly just sat and actually was in and out of sleep most of the day. If my recollection was that like a couple of hours had passed, and then I realized what time it was, and it was getting.
Let me ask you this.
getting
There's
dark.
been some talk about Ariel's bag. Did you initially have the bag?
I did.
What'd you do? What happened to the bag?
I honestly don't remember where I left. I must have left it at some point
Okay.
On the mountain
As you were
during that time.
During that time. Okay. Now, your bag that you had with you.
Yes.
What did you use that bag for?
It's a little crossbody Patagonia bag, and it's the bag that I take to work, to and from work.
Wait. So it was the bag. Wait. Is this separate from the bag that we showed on stream? Remember we showed a bag on stream and then it said they subpoenaed it to get it? Is it the same bag? Wait, so that was the same with all the syringes and stuff? Or no, let's see. Maybe I'm jumping to conclusions.
And home every day.
Okay, you mentioned walking to work. Do you walk to work?
Not every day, but often, yes.
And when you do walk to work, you bring that bag.
When I walk to work and when I don't walk to work too. So this is the bag that I take into the hospital with me, and it has like my water bottle for the day, my sunglasses, snacks, paperwork for work.
Okay. You mentioned paperwork and sometimes pens.
And yeah.
Okay.
Not sometimes pen, always a pen. I that's like the one thing I have to leave in my house with because I'm writing all day long, recording all the cases that I do.
Did you end up taking a SIM card out of your phone?
I did
How did you remove it?
with a paperclip.
Okay. Now, you
It says Koenig evaded police for approximately 6 to 8 hours on March 24th, following the alleged attempt on Ariel's life. That's what I'm saying. He disappeared. He literally, two witnesses who could have saved him, who could have helped him. He ran away and evaded police for 6 to 8 hours and then took a nap? What are we talking about here?
end up. You said it seemed like a few hours.
Okay, Chaz says the blue cross body is what he's talking about. The black bag with syringes was at his home. Okay.
A couple hours, but obviously it was longer than that.
Yes.
At some point, do you come down off the mountain?
Yes.
Okay. And why did
Yeah, and why did he take the SIM card out? I'm so confused by this.
you do that? Tell the jury why you did that.
Okay.
I decided I wasn't going to kill myself, and then I realized that it was going to be dark soon, and so I decided to turn myself in.
Okay. And so you actually came off the mountain when the sun was still out? I mean,
Yes.
when it was still lit?
It was still it was still light out.
Did we not read that he had a scuffle with police? Did we not read this on stream the other day that they fought a little bit because he resisted arrest?
And that was to turn yourself in.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't want to be caught, what would you have done?
Kept hiding until dark, and
Okay. So you come down, and there was talk about you walking, down the road when the three officers got there.
yes,
And were you trying to flee from them?
no.
Okay, so explain that to the jury. What happens when they pull up to you?
So I was walking down the road, and I was on in the little grassy area between the road and the
The one that was on the photograph,
bushes.
that when it was like that little
Yeah.
grassy area.
And I heard a car behind me, and I looked, and it was like a minivan, and I just thought it was like tourists coming back from the Poly, and I was like, wow, I can't believe there's still tourists at the Poly. And so I just looked at it briefly, and then kept walking, but then the car stopped, kind of opposite me,
Okay. And what happened?
and I saw these two huge guys jump out of it, and they're both dressed the same, and I could see a police badge on the one.
Let me
that's
stop you there. So
closer
you knew
to
they
me.
were police.
Yeah, immediately.
Okay. And so what happens then?
They yell, "Please get down on the ground."
And what'd you do?
I lay down on the ground,
And then what did they do?
on the grass, in the grassy area.
What did they do?
They ran over to me and held me down and struck me several times and handcuffed me.
Okay.
Look, I'm not going to sit here and defend a cop at all, but I don't believe him. I want to see the body cam footage, but also I'm not going to defend cops.
Did you fall on your face with the officer falling on you in that transaction or interaction?
No officer fell on me at all during the entire thing, and I did not fall on my face.
Did they hit or punch you in the face?
No.
But they did, as they testified, strike you a couple times?
Yes.
In where?
And my ribs and like my upper legs, like thighs.
Okay. So after this moment, now you're arrested. Did you have injuries from that whole day?
Yes.
Okay, we talked about the injury to the side of your face.
Yes.
What other injuries did you have after you were arrested?
Just my ribs.
Okay. Did you have any bite marks on your arm?
No.
Did you have any scratch marks on your face or body?
No.
And HPD photographed your injuries?
Yes.
Okay. No.
No scratch marks?
Some additional questions, and we're getting close to the end of my examination, Gerhard. I know it's been a long day. Your work bag on Maui. Well, let me ask you this before I go there. The bag that you had on,
Yes.
on the hike, did you see the big blood stain on the back of your shirt?
Yes.
What was that from?
It's from the bag
Okay,
that I was.
Explain that.
So during the scuffle, my bag, I was holding both bags. I put both bags down to take the selfie, and I had both bags again.
Why did you have her bag?
Because she had given it to me when she was climbing up on
Okay.
a tree. And then
The scuffle happened.
the scuffle happens, and both bags, went flying basically, but my bag must have been right by her head, because after she left, when I picked my bag up, there was a bunch of blood on the back of it.
And then you put the bag on your back, and that's
Yes.
how the blood got on you.
Do you know why there was all that blood on the bag? Trigger warning, I'm going to show you the photo again so you guys can I just wanted I want it to be shocked into your system. Don't look if you don't want to look, okay? I'm going to tell you, it's on the screen in 1, 2, 3, because that's how much blood was coming out of her head. Photo on stream, photo on stream. Okay, photo off stream in 1, 2, 3. Photo is off stream. That's why there was so much fucking blood. Because you hit her in the head so many times, she was bleeding out.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. Now, your work bag. You're an anesthesiologist, correct?
Yes.
And you, that work bag was always on Maui, is that right?
That's correct.
Do you work in more than one location?
Yes.
And why did you have medications and syringes in that bag?
That's the bag that I use in the operating room every day, and I have medications in it that I use for work. Most of the medications that are in there are used for emergencies when I'm on call.
Okay. Let me ask you about that. When you're on call, do you sometimes have to, you're at home and you have to rush into a different, is it always the same location?
Yeah, so when we're on call, we're always on call for the hospital. So
Okay.
I work at several locations, but all of the call shifts are for the hospital, really close to my house, and so I can take call from home. Oftentimes I'm in scrubs already, and I have this work bag either right by the door or in the car. That way I can respond directly to either the emergency room or to labor and delivery or to the operating room without having to go to my locker.
Okay. Could we please publish State's Exhibit 94? Your Honor, I believe it's in evidence. One second while you double check.
I believe it is as well.
Okay.
Yes, you can proceed.
Okay. So this was testimony was this was in a bag. Just a couple of things. So like, what is this? What is this?
Those are bags of saline. The one on the left is still sealed, and the one on the right has medication in it.
Okay. And this is a stethoscope. Is that right?
Yes.
What is this thing up here? This and that.
Oral airways for emergencies and elective surgery.
Okay. These are all stuff that you had at home regularly when you were either on call or depending on where you were going to work.
Yeah, I had. I mean, this is everything that's usually in my bag, and it's everything that I would need to respond to different emergencies.
Okay. Could we please also publish State's Exhibit 103? That's also in evidence. Okay. Is that your? This was also in your bag, according to them. Is that your work ID?
Yes.
Okay. The last shift you had before this trip, we can take that down. Where had you been working?
At the hospital.
Okay. Do you remember in what unit?
Labor and delivery.
Okay. So after that shift, would it be normal for you to have that bag?
Yes.
Okay. Why is that?
Because I keep the bag with me for the entire shift. It's a 24-hour shift. I start at 7 a.m. and I keep going until 7 a.m. the next day. And so when my shift ends, unless I'm actively at the hospital taking care of something there, I'm at home when my shift ends. And so I was at home when my shift ended that day, and that's why I had the bag with me.
Oh, you're at home because you're on call.
Yes.
Okay. Now, prior to this trip to Oahu, did Ariel know about this bag and the fact that you had medication syringes in it?
Absolutely. I've had it at home often.
Okay.
Yeah, Chad says as a medical professional, all that stuff would already be in the crash cart for emergencies. So I don't know why he needs all that in the bag. And then I did have a couple of doctors comment and just say, like, as physicians, like, we don't know why he would have that bag at home. Like, we just don't get it. So,
Now, just a few last questions, Gerhard. You testified that you reacted to defend yourself when she hit you with the rock, and it's all happening fast, and she has your testicles, you grab it and you hit her.
Oh, pause. Just an update, chat, because Chat says I can't wait for Ariel's lawyer to eviscerate him tomorrow. So the trial is going to happen again today live. So we're going to come back tomorrow and watch the after the fact. But it's actually the state of Hawaii's prosecutor. A lawyer corrected me in the chat. It's not Ariel's lawyer. It's the state of Hawaii, bro. Because this is Hawaii versus Gerhard. So the state of Hawaii is like, sir, like it's not. So because he's basically being accused of murder. So I didn't realize that. This is definitely not my bubble. So I'm learning.
And it was all happening fast. So you were defending yourself in that moment, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And did you stop as soon as she stopped?
Yes.
Okay. But you also said you felt horrible about it.
Yes.
Okay. Can you explain to the jury how those things can coexist?
It's I believe in the right to self-defense, right? But I mean, in the moment, it was kind of an impulse. It wasn't like a conscious, like, I'm going to analyze this from like a legal perspective. It was, but yet the result of it was harm to my wife.
Okay. how do you feel about that she's got hurt?
Horrible.
You've learned that she is filing for divorce and seeking full custody of your children, yes?
Yes.
Do you want joint custody?
Yes. More than any. That's.
Okay. And there's been testimony that you've been in custody, yes?
Yes.
Have you been able to speak with your 2 young boys from jail?
No.
Kara, did you have a plan to kill your wife?
I want to know, hold on, before you ask that fucking question, I want to know who from the family has visited him. I want to know who believes him.
Kara, did you have a plan to kill your wife on the mountain that day?
No.
Did you try to throw her off a cliff?
No.
Did you try to stab her with syringes?
No.
When you hit her with the rock twice, why did you do it?
In self-defense.
Thank you. That's all the questions I have.
Thank you, Mr. Barnard, can we take a cross-examination formally?
Can we approach Sharon?
Okay, let's see. I don't think anything else is going to happen because we're not going to be able to hear this. Let's see. Let's just watch his body language. Not that we're experts because there's no such thing, but you know, this is it. This is his testimony. Tomorrow we'll come back. We'll see how the state of Hawaii handles it. We'll see what questions he's asked and how he answers them. But this is it. We did it. Man. Wow. Yeah, that's it. Okay, we did it. We'll be back tomorrow. What a crazy situation. I hope the victims get justice because there wasn't just one victim here. There's a whole family that will be impacted. And I'm devastated for those kids. Like, how hard must it have been for his son to testify against his father? What a horrible situation to put your family in. And what's worse, to sit here and act like you're the victim. Again, we on this channel are always going to hold ourselves accountable, and we have no intention of spreading misinformation. And we are only doing our best to look at the evidence as laymen, as normal people in a community. We're always talking about villages and communities and the health of the people around us. And look, if the evidence proves otherwise, if it's shown that he truly is the victim, then we'll own that. But with everything that we've seen, and again, we're just regular people, with everything that we've been able to observe after the testimony of everybody involved, I just don't know how he isn't the perpetrator. I just don't know how this won't turn out being attempted murder, right? Or whatever it ends up being called legally, right? What a horrible situation. Absolutely devastating. Please take care of yourselves. I know I kept showing you that photo, but I just thought it was necessary because I know so many of us, we censor the news censors. I think America, especially in the United States, we really censor our news, guys, which is why I think a lot of Americans don't know what a genocide looks like. I think a lot of us don't know what we're doing to people around the world because our news doesn't show it. So please watch news outlets that will show you some of it. I know for some of you, you've already seen it, you know, but if you really find yourself victim blaming or doubting people or not understanding how terrible what we've been doing to other people are around the world, like, watch the videos just enough for your brain to really understand, for you to embody the belief and understanding with the data in front of you that, like, this is disgusting and we are doing bad things. Okay. We are really hurting a lot of people and it's so unnecessary. Those pictures of Ariel are so important to see because as like horrible as it is to stomach it, she went through it. You know, she really went through it. She lived, she survived, and thank goodness the witnesses came when they did and rescued her. Thank goodness they were nurses. Talk about lucky. And thank goodness they were able to give her the medical care that her doctor husband did not offer her. Instead, he evaded the police for 8 hours.